All right, we're on. What's going on, guys? The Film and Everything podcast. Welcome. I'm starting to get used to this YouTube thing because, like, with the audio, I can just talk and be like. But now with YouTube, I have to be here and be aware of the camera.
Where's your camera?
I got the webcam, and
nice.
you got the camera. You guys got the better camera.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm very excited. We got a new guest today, Viraj.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming on,
man. I appreciate it.
Thank
I've been dying to come on and say a few things about a few films.
The one thing I wanted to bring up right away is that, like, it's crazy how we don't know each other.
Yeah,
like,
we really don't.
Never met in school or anything. We met through
Instagram.
Power
of social media.
The power of social media.
Crazy.
It's the weirdest thing. We got here.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know you already. It's really weird. Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think the way I came across you guys, our mutual friend Octavio, he shared a free giveaway you guys were doing. The Avengers poster.
Yeah.
And McDonald's. So I retweeted it and I did the things you have to do to win the giveaway, and I won. And so then, that's how sort of like our connection and relationship started. So
I remember that. Yeah.
So that,
and I remember being pissed because UPS
messed up the poster. Yeah, but the Hulk bobblehead is awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
The Hulk bobblehead. Yeah, it made up for it.
They messed up the package.
The poster came a little bit bent up. Just a
bastards.
I was like, damn, because I was so excited to have I was so hyped for the end game, and to have a poster for it was like, I was like, yes. And then it just came messed up. I was like, damn.
Is it bad?
But
was it bad? Was it that?
It was pretty bad. It was pretty, yeah. But the bobblehead makes up for it, though. It came with a Hulk bobblehead.
I got you. I got you. I'm gonna check because I got you, man. No, we got a couple of posters. I feel bad. I remember when he told me, I was like, no. It was like my first giveaway. I was sort
of like, I wasn't sure how to take it. I wasn't like, do I message them? Like, yo, guys, like this.
Yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, exactly. I was like, what do I do here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But eventually I reached out to you guys, and you guys were really nice about it. And we were supposed to meet up to get another poster, but it really wasn't that big of a deal.
I got you, man.
Eventually, we connected on many films, and we talked about a lot of things on social, and we really just wanted to, it's mutual interest. Like, I love films, and you guys clearly love films, so it was good. I'm glad that mishap happened for that conversation to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because then from there we just kind of started going.
It's probably the reason why I'm sitting in this chair right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, and now with the Irishman, because that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about Irishman. I want to bring up some other stuff before we get into it. Just I want we're here. Let's just give out whatever we know, and share. I like when I have somebody new on. I like to see their just what they know about movies and just different opinions on different
things.
We have a lot of opinions and stuff. I don't know if you heard some episodes, but we've gotten some heated debates about Star Wars, Marvel, DC. So I like when we have somebody new on. Just bring them in, and it's like fresh meat. It's like, what do you like? What side are you on? So it's really exciting. And the first thing I wanted to bring up, the trailer that came out today with Black Widow, which we saw. Yeah. Are you a fan of Black Widow? Are you a fan of Marvel like that?
I'm really just curious to see how they're gonna use this movie, even though in the end game, it was her end game kind of in a sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she's done. Dead. She's no more. So I want to see how. Obviously, I'm assuming it's just gonna be a complete flashback scene of her brought up, and that's sort of what they picked and they showed in the trailer. But I'm really, and the way they went about it seems different than any other Marvel movie. I feel like it has a much more, and just off of a first watch of the trailer, I could tell that it has much more of a serious tone to it. Yeah. Not necessarily as goofy or you can sort of,
right?
Exactly. I mean, I feel like it would fit in, and it has sort of a, I want to say what was that movie that came out with the Russian spy? It was a couple years ago, maybe a year ago. With the Atomic Blonde, I think.
Blonde, yeah.
I think it has that
spy
kind of feel
thriller,
to it. A spy thriller. I think they're gonna focus more on that. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, because this is taking place. What was it, Josh?
Civil War and Infinity War.
Yeah, so that time gap.
Oh, that middle
You know how
period.
she's always talking about Budapest.
Yes.
So it's taking place in between that time. I always thought this movie is actually a few years late. It should have came out during that period. But I do
way
know,
overdue.
Yeah, it's overdue. Yeah, because after Civil War, what do we got a couple movies. That's probably why they got Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, and I think Captain
Thor
Marvel.
Ragnarok, by the way, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, love that one. And I think we got Captain Marvel. Those were the
Captain Marvel. Yes, it was. I think Infinity War and then Captain Marvel and then we got Endgame.
Yeah. So if this is taking place before, it's in between Civil War and Infinity.
Did we get Spider-Man at that time too? Right? Spider-Man came in the middle of that. Yeah,
maybe. That's a lot of stuff there.
A lot of stuff. Marvel's working.
They probably had to push it to the side, but I'm glad that it is being made, and I'm liking the spy thriller aspect to it.
Maybe at the right time too, because I feel like with the whole build-up of what they were going for at the end of Civil War and then like Infinity War and all of that, I think it might not have fit into like where everybody would have gone and seen it.
And even with her death now too, right? I feel like people are like, we get to watch her one last time.
Exactly.
It's like a send-off movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that could
That'd
work.
Be pretty cool.
Yeah, that could work. I like the spy thriller aspect of it. I am hoping they push through with that, because you know how Disney and Marvel can be. They hold back a lot. And that was actually we heavily criticized Endgame about that. Like, why? Because Infinity War is one thing. Like, that's like Thanos' movie. That movie is dark.
Yeah.
I loved every second of it. And Endgame, I liked it, but they held back a lot. I felt like, and once you start reading up on a lot of the things that they cut out, like there was one point when Thanos was going to show up. Like, he goes to 2014 to get Captain America's head, and he was going to roll it to them when he showed up. A lot of things like that, that's pretty badass, but...
It takes back because they wanted to fit that, I'm assuming, PG-13 rating and not go the whole R-rated.
I'm sure they could have done it PG-13, but I think it would have been a lot for kids, right? That's the thing. That's why I was surprised with Infinity War. Infinity War to me is like, I think, the best one. Yeah. Even better than Endgame. I don't know. A lot of people say that.
I personally I really liked Endgame because I think in Infinity War you kind of felt for Thanos. Mm-hmm. I don't like you kind of like. It was a very like he was doing it. He had this one vision in his mind and he wanted to complete that vision. And then in Endgame he was sinister. Yeah, he was an actual villain.
It was his younger self. I'm coming to
kill you. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It was after he probably went through a whole awakening and enlightened mindset into whatever
Here he's
Infinity
younger,
War
he's
was.
Nah.
Younger, he's like, yo, I just want to destroy you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So cool. Do you prefer Endgame more than Infinity War? Where do you stand?
It's hard, man, because and a lot of people ask me, and this was before Infinity War and Endgame came out, where it was like, I think we were debating Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok, and we were like, which one do you like more? I'm like, it's really hard to say because it feels like it's building up to something, and like the recent one is the best one. You know what I mean? Because you can't it's like when you're watching even in a show, like sometimes there'll be there'll be specific episodes you really like, but the most recent episode is usually the one that you like the most because it's leading towards the next phase or next whatever. So I that's sort of like how I looked at it, and I really drew to Endgame. Maybe a lot has to do with my experience. I went with a lot of my friends, and it was like a big hype up moment for all of us.
It was an experience.
So I associated all of that to that one watch of Endgame. So like that to me was pretty special.
It is a cool. It's literally an event, and that's why I'm hoping. Because after Endgame, it's like I was kind of like, okay, I think I'm done with Marvel for a bit.
Exactly.
I'm gonna take a break. So I'm hoping now they can start taking a different approach with Black Widow. Yeah. I like that darker approach. If it could be anything like Winter Soldier, remember you guys?
Cool. Yeah.
That spy thriller, dark, action. If it could be like that, I hope so. Based off the trailer, I think they could pull it off. Yeah. Because I love Black Widow. It
doesn't seem light at all. Like like usually in trailers they're sneaking like a little haha moment.
There's little jokes.
Yeah, there's little jokes that Disney Marvel. Thank God that because Thor Ragnarok caught me by surprise. Mm-hmm. That movie was one of the movies where I was like, yo, this movie's really funny. Like I really liked it because of how humorous it was and how like it was more than just obviously. Whatever, like I was like, I didn't know Thor was this funny, you know, and they really made it.
He needed that, and the movie handled it well. It just really took it as like a comedy. It's basically a comedy.
Yeah, and mixed into the story somehow, but man. So that's I really do hope they go like a serious spiral for that.
So what did you think, Josh, with Black Widow? You feel the same? I know Taskmaster was like one of the complaints, right?
I don't read the comics, so I don't give a shit.
Because there was huge complaints about Taskmaster.
Yeah, I really don't care. I'm actually pretty excited for the movie, because I'm a big fan of Black Widow. I think she's like really cool.
Yeah,
I think she's really cool. And it looks cool. I'm really excited.
He's a fan of Scarlett Johansson.
So,
big fan.
Yeah,
lifetime fan.
Yeah, lifetime fan.
I mean, and we never really got a lot of her, you know what I mean? Yeah. She was always just in movies, just not the main part of any movie specifically. Yeah. And we never got a chance to get that origin story that this will probably give us. So.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
Based off the trailer, it's going into, because Age of Ultron, remember those flashbacks and stuff?
Well, yeah, it has, like, it showed that moment of her having that flashback while she was walking, like, so I'm sure they're going to give us more in-depth of her. Yeah. And the movie can be about her rather than her just being
leading up.
Or part of a bigger thing.
Yeah,
so
I really hope it's good because I actually don't like Endgame now. I seen it like 4 times.
I've seen it a lot too.
and I was like, you know what? I actually don't like Endgame. I actually when we first did like a podcast about it, I gave it like a 9. Now I'm kind of like, you know what? It's more like a 7 for me.
Really?
Yeah. Because I actually
very critical. Very critical.
Yeah, because now
what changed?
I hate Thor.
Okay.
Thor pissed me off.
The fat Thor.
Yeah, the fat Thor. And I don't like it. Hulk pissed me off even more.
Yeah.
I love Hulk.
Soft Hulk is.
And he was sidelined. I was like, why is he sidelined?
And the amount of deleted scenes that we found out.
Oh yeah.
About the Hulk was supposed to get his rematch with Thanos.
Yeah.
Cut out. Yeah. The Hulk was gonna have a badass moment with Black Panther.
Yeah.
Where there's a huge creature. You remember it was like there's storyboards on it. And there's a huge like monster coming up to them, and they kind of look at each other, and Black Panther says, "Hit me," because you know how he absorbs all the. So the Hulk was gonna hit him.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
And he was gonna use that.
Was that in one of the scenes of the extra, the movie that came out the second time?
Concept art.
It was like
concept art. It didn't even.
That sucks.
Yeah, that blows.
And one thing too is that in the sketch arts, it's like the Hulk normal. It's like
the
big
big,
strong.
the strong, the angry Hulk.
Yeah, because I read up somewhere that which Hulk version was that? The Smart Hulk?
Professor Hulk.
Yeah,
Professor Hulk, yeah.
That was kind of like a last second change. Yeah, because they went back to Infinity War to add him struggling to take out the Hulk. So for Endgame, he has that moment.
Yeah, because they went back. Because my guess, because in Infinity War, he was going to break out of the Hulkbuster. Remember? That he was, and then he was going to have a scene there and fight or whatever. But then they decided to take that out because they didn't want him to lose again.
Didn't know that.
And
also, did you guys see the Endgame with the extra scenes at the end of it?
Not worth it.
Not worth it? Because I didn't go see it.
I forgot that we did. Yeah, what was extra? Oh, the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
The deleted
scenes.
It
was one scene with how the Hulk is introduced. It's not even finished. So it's like that animated. We got a poster out of it. So, you know, it was a cool poster. But
it was definitely to beat Avatar, I feel like. Just to get over the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to drive more people. But here's what I heard. Avatar also released twice in theaters. That I did not know until somebody told me afterwards that, Avatar did that too. So I was like, if they did it, I feel like I don't feel as bad as them pushing.
But I think if Avatar came out, I don't think there was anything else out with it. But also, how much was a movie ticket?
Yeah.
2009. You know, I think if you adjust for inflation, I think that was one of the arguments as well. If you adjust,
still,
Avatar, man, Endgame, that was such an event.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened with you, like with the spoilers. You know, when the spoilers were out,
I was muted social media. I was off everything pretty much.
I hated it at the time, but when you think back on it, it was like kind of fun. Yeah. Like, I don't want to get spoiled.
It's the experience, It's the whole experience. Like, I don't want this to spoil it. Like walking into the theater with your ears like this, because people leaving.
I had AirPods on.
I thankfully was one of the first showtimes of, and that was funny too because I don't know if you guys remember the AMC shut down. Like they weren't able to get ticket orders or whatever through the online system because
we had to drive there.
Bro, we did that too. So what was crazy? So I was at UM and we went to Three Chefs, which is right across UM.
Okay.
And we were eating there. I was eating with a good friend of mine, and I was like, you know what? Sunset Place is right there. Let's go see if they have. Let's just manually go get tickets like we used to. Old school style. And we went there, and there was no line, and they had tickets for every single movie, whatever time, whatever. So I got tickets for, I want to say it was like 10, 12, 13 of us, and he got tickets for like 6 or 7. So we got like 20 tickets at one time for the second showtime of the night.
That's amazing.
And that was like that to us. That was a part of the experience. Yeah. Because just showing up, buying tickets, old school style, and
ours was so crazy, man. We were at home. We were locked in. We were ready. And we're like, Joshua, what's going on? I don't know. And people are getting tickets. What do we do? Do we go no? Because we have A-list. AMC A-list. Yeah. Totally worth it, by the way. We should get sponsored by now. Because we tell everyone. I even talked about it on Octavio's show because A-list is $20 a month.
Yeah.
3 movies a week, any format. You save money. Yeah. Anyway.
I can imagine. Like I haven't been going to the movies as much lately, but that I can imagine for somebody who's doing a show like this where you're reviewing movies constantly, you're seeing movies like that, like it makes so much sense.
We watch so many movies in IMAX, Dolby, which is like $20 tickets.
By the way, shout out to Movie Pass. I think they're done now.
R.I.P.
But shout out to them, like bringing people back into the theaters. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what started it all.
It started everybody getting back into seats.
We were Movie Pass.
Me too.
We had Movie Pass, and dude, we milked that thing. We milked it.
Oh, 100%.
And then I was one of the last ones because Josh was like, dude, just cancel it. Just cancel it.
It went through that period where you're like, yo, what is Movie Pass doing right now?
And I stuck by them. I was like, I won't. Until eventually I was like, I gotta let it go.
Yeah, I gotta let it go. Yeah.
And then AMC A-List came around. I was like, this looks nice. And then here we are, you know. And I remember when AMC shut down, and me and Joshua for Endgame were like, oh my god, what do we do? Fuck. Yeah. We were like, and Joshua, let's go. And we got in the car. What time? It was like 11 or something. It
must have been 11 in the morning, right?
Yeah, we stopped everything we were doing. Let's go. And we were driving there, and there was a line at the AMC at the Pembroke Lakes.
No way.
And people were like, everybody was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then we got lucky, man.
There was a line, really?
Yeah. Because I think the theater had just opened.
Yeah.
Because, they opened like around that time.
Yeah. I was in class for 2 hours just on my phone, like paying attention, like trying to reload, you know? Yeah. And then I finally gave up because it kept crashing, kept putting me back in line. And I was like, I'm done with this. So I'm like, let's go get lunch. And it just so happened. It happened naturally. We ended up at Sunset Place, and it was awesome.
Just worked out. What an event, right?
Yeah,
like,
really.
What was the last movie you could remember?
Harry Potter.
Maybe.
First
Harry
Star
Potter.
Wars of this new trilogy.
Yeah. But for to make
really. But that one's like top 4. I think. Gross of all time.
I think Force Awakens. I guess with the hype for Force Awakens.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Force Awakens definitely.
No, actually, I think Last Jedi a little more because like everyone liked Force Awakens. Yeah. I think the hype for Last Jedi was so much. That's why people.
But I think the anticipation. Probably Force Awakens. It's like that.
Yeah. Apparently for this one, the one that's coming out in December, I forget the name of it. I think it's the
Rise of
Skywalker. It outdid the numbers that Endgame people trying to get the pre-sale tickets.
Yeah, something like that. The first hour. Or something.
Yeah, something.
I don't think it's
really technical.
Endgame. Yeah. I think really it's like one of those cheap stats to like get people.
They find like on a Wednesday, this is the highest grossing sale.
Yeah. For that first 30 minutes, it's like, okay.
All right.
Yeah,
sounds like ESPN. I don't know, like
those
ESPN
random
finds
stats.
Those random stats
just to keep you.
Okay, cool.
Wow,
On October 2nd, LeBron scored the highest anyone ever has.
For a Sunday,
right.
Yeah.
For a Sunday.
So that's the thing. I don't think it's gonna pass Endgame. I don't think so. Cause man, I'd never seen that before. Cause even like Harry Potter, but like to make apps crash, people are waiting. It hit $1 billion the first weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then a slow rise though after that one. Like it went from $1 billion, then it like crept all the way to like, oh my god, it's gonna pass Avatar, and then it just like sat there.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody that wanted to see it probably saw it
so many
times.
They didn't,
so many times, and then like, and it was just there, and everyone's like, oh my god, is it gonna pass? Is it gonna pass? Is it gonna pass? Then they're like, deleted scenes.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Boom.
That's the only way to do it because you can only see it so many times, So it's like hard to hit that. It's hard. I mean. It was it hit finally 2.7 billion. Will we ever see a movie hit 3 billion?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
They would have to re-release so many times. I don't think a movie could, in a first run.
Yeah.
Maybe even a second run. I don't think.
It would have to be a ridiculous hype build for a movie for it to do something like that. And it has to be
how much more hype than Endgame.
And it has to be a traditional like it has to come from one of those franchises.
So that's why I'm like, man, if that couldn't hit 3.
Yeah.
What can?
Yeah, what can?
That's like after Avatar 2.
Wow.
We were talking about this,
yeah.
Joshua, because you know about Avatar. You see the first one. Did you enjoy it?
I mean, I have neutral feelings about it. Like it was a great movie at that, but I saw it also when it was. So when did it come out?
2009.
2009, right?
10 years.
I saw it in theaters, and I remember enjoying it. But then after that, like I never really went back to go see it. You know what I mean? I never like right now. I never would feel like let me go. I mean, now I actually might go see it again because I'm like, I don't remember much about the movie. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I remember it being a great film. So.
Yeah, the movie still holds up, man. To me,
yeah.
The technology for that time, when you watch it now, it's like.
And apparently, he waited 20 years or so for the technology to even catch up to make a movie like that.
That's 2009. That's 10 years ago. So. And he's been working on the sequels because he's doing like 4 more.
Oh yeah, and it's like back to back. Like every 2 years,
the
dropping
technology, what he can do now. Yeah. And everybody, me
actually
too,
can't wait.
I'm one of them. It was supposed to come out next year,
next
December.
Yeah.
Then Disney You know, they bought Fox.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out in 2020?
And then they delayed it again. This movie, the second one, has been trying to come out
in the works for a while.
Since 2014. Wow. I remember the first announcement date, like release date, was 2014.
Wow.
Then it was like, 2016. And then, no, it's going to be 2017 when Avatar Land opens. Oh, okay, all right. 2019, 2020. And people were like, okay, 2020, it's settled. Then Disney bought Fox, you know, because Disney's owning everything. 2021.
By the way, Disney is something else.
With taking over streaming service now. And then now we got 2021, and people are pissed, you know. And Josh was like, oh, what is he doing? James Cameron,
because
that guy
can do no wrong.
Dude, I think about it. All the movies that have been number one are his.
Yeah.
He passed himself with, it was Titanic, then he passed himself with Avatar.
Yeah.
And Avatar held up for 10 years.
But it's been pushed back for so long that
people
lose patience.
It's been 10 years. So imagine, how do you
and
build
I feel
up
like he had to be like Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5 for people to be like, oh my God, there's a new storyline coming.
And plus now films now are different. Now Marvel, everyone wants to go see a Marvel film. Not like an Avatar or even like a DC film. So now I feel like it's going to make money, but it's not going to break any records, I feel like.
I don't know.
Because between Marvel and DC and how people are more into that type of stuff now, I feel like Avatar kind of lost its prime.
Yeah,
I feel like a little
bit. That moment of them to have that moment.
If he had a sequel out within the next 2 years, I think it would have been the next big thing. Because I think Marvel was just starting out. 2009 was probably the first Iron Man.
No.
2008.
2008.
So maybe
the Hulk was out around. You know, it was early phases.
Yeah.
But I tell him, man, I don't underestimate James Cameron. That guy is a madman.
People will still probably show out. Yeah. I think a big reason for Avatar's success, and someone was telling me this, you guys can check me on this, was 3D.
The 3D.
That was that real?
Like IMAX 3D.
It was like the first time for them doing IMAX 3D or something
at that scale.
At that scale.
Yeah.
Because that was his investment.
Yeah.
He wanted that IMAX 3D experience, and you see the world that he built.
Yeah.
It just makes perfect sense. Like that's why you go watch a movie.
It's beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
Because
came from a dream. He dreamt about it. You know, like the garden with the floating. Yeah. He dreamt about that, and then he just kind of went.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's crazy what dreams can do. Because Terminator was a nightmare that he had.
Wow.
So like there was like this thing that was trying to kill him. It was like a cyborg.
Yeah.
Then he was like, oh, what if I did Terminator 1? Then he had a dream about Avatar.
That's crazy.
And not specifically the whole story, but just like the visual of like the plants and like the lighting and the neon.
He probably
colors.
woke up and was like, I can build something around this.
No,
and then
that was it.
Sick bastard.
Yeah.
That guy is crazy, man.
No, I mean, like I am a big fan of the film. I just like, okay, I just want to see it already.
It's been so long.
See the second part of it. I've been waiting for so long. It's like, stop delaying it.
Yeah.
And Disney pushing it back really pissed me off.
Yeah.
What, for West Side Story?
Yeah, they're remaking it. So it's like
who gives a shit about that movie?
It's been 10 years, man.
You
know.
Really has.
But James Cameron, that guy is.
Can't underestimate him.
You can't, man. He's just.
He might do something that'll.
The movie, I have a feeling he's doing like groundbreaking underwater technology to film underwater. Like he's doing this whole. I have a feeling he's gonna like break it again. You know what I mean?
I think he might be the one to go back to number one.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's hard.
I feel like it could pass. It could be like number 3.
It'll be like top 3 or something, maybe. But the movie has to be amazing.
Yeah,
like it has to be.
It has to have people being like telling their friends like, "Yo, you have to go see this."
Because that's how the first one was. I remember it was like middle school.
Yeah,
and people were like, "Dude, you have to watch this movie.
See Avatar." Yeah.
So
it's very hard for movies to have that. Like, I mean, Endgame sort of did that naturally. Like it was like a one-time. Boom! So many people showed up, and then now more and more people add on to that, and then like something where it's word of mouth kind of thing.
Yeah,
and that's hard to do. To get to get to number 1.
That's an original movie. Yeah. No 10 years of build up like Endgame. Just hey, here's a movie. Yeah. I just came up with it. Yeah. Original idea, and to get people to be like, no, you have to go see this. You have to, and hit that one. You know,
that's insane.
Number 1 spot. 2 has to be amazing. 2 has to be groundbreaking, and I think he is.
I feel like he would. If anybody's capable of doing that, it's him.
Yeah.
He's done it twice.
He's done it twice. It's going to be tougher because the way
it's a different market now.
Because now people are more like with Netflix.
The demand is not as there.
Streaming.
Like how streaming is there.
Streaming impact's huge.
Yeah.
Movies.
You're getting TV shows that are at the same caliber as movies.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You could easily make that a movie. You could if you wanted to. It works better as a show, but
it was supposed to be a movie at first. Stranger Things, all that stuff.
It's crazy. We mentioned the 2 highest, like viewed
Yeah, so Mandalorian passed.
Yeah, just passed.
Which is insane, you know. And Mandalorian was supposed to be a movie at first. Because if you think about it, each episode is like 30-something minutes. So it's like around 4 hours long.
Yeah.
And it actually does work out like what you're saying as a show because they don't have to worry about cutting out things. They don't have to worry about shrinking the story. Now it's like they can just tell it how they want to tell it over 4 hours rather than in a theater 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's a lot.
It's a lot to cut out.
And I'm loving the show, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
It's great.
I think
I've been tuned in every episode.
What's your stance? This is a controversial one that we always talk about. Okay, because I know we're gonna jump conversation here. Star Wars. Are you a Star Wars fan?
I am a Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. More so from a. Here's my admiration of Star Wars, and it started long ago. Is it's not based off of a book or comic, like
it's kind of like talk about Avatar. I think Avatar is like James Cameron's Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's making 4 more movies.
Yeah.
It's just he's taking too long to make.
He's taking a little long, but they're gonna come out.
But for them to do 4, 5, and 6, when they did it, and then to do 1, 2, and 3, and it all seamlessly connect.
Amazing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then to have all these like little bits and
this
and
family.
Like
he says it's like a family operatic drama. You know, it's like
really.
And that's why these new movies, we talk about this so much, it's been upsetting us. You know, Mandalorian's a great return to form, I think.
But the new movies, you're right, they do lack something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but they do lack something. Rogue One was awesome.
Yeah, I love Rogue One.
That iconic Darth Vader scene.
Yeah, it's just...
Reshoot, by the way. That was a reshoot. Wasn't in the original.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just Last Jedi really burned a hole in my heart for Star Wars.
Well, you know about the controversy with Last Jedi, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh man.
Yeah.
If you go on Twitter right now
Yeah.
and just search Star Wars,
Yeah.
Last Jedi, the division, it's like it's
Really?
It's like it's like 2 completely different sides just bashing it cuz you have the people who love Last Jedi for the most part what I've seen and online and people I've heard talk, it's like they love the idea of forget the past. Who needs the Skywalkers, right? Anybody. But it's like, and then you have the other side that is like, you are forgetting that this is like what you were saying, a one flush storyline about the Skywalker family, the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
You can't just forget that. You can do it in a spin-off like Rogue One. Love Rogue One. Mandalorian, another spin-off. Love it. Great. But you can't just come in and just be like, forget this and just trash a legacy.
Yeah.
Because
that's true.
This camera does it every 30 minutes or so.
That's my Sony does it also. So yeah.
I tried delaying it, but the max it goes is 30 minutes. Anyway, so Force Awakens, I think it did well. There was there's a lot we can go off about this, but I'll try to make it brief.
Yeah.
George Lucas had an outline for his next trilogy, and it was gonna cap off like what you liked about the prequels, right? It all connected, and it all just made that. So he had this thing. He was going to cap off all 9 films. It was going to complete the Skywalker saga. And he was going to get into more of the midichlorians and the Force and the wills. They're called wills because they're basically the Force itself. They're like gods.
Yeah.
So you know how every Star Wars movie says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? It was going to explain that because we are watching this Skywalker saga through their perspective. So this new trilogy that he had was going to go into that.
Yeah.
And he had an outline and he gave it to Disney, and Disney was like, "Here's our idea," and then he was insulted. He was like, he said it like, "There's nothing new in this."
Yeah.
There's no, and that's one thing that we were just watching recently, Revenge of the Sith, the third prequel.
Yeah.
One thing that you got to give to the prequels, it's completely different, and it could be for worse sometimes.
I love the prequels personally.
People bash the dialogue could be a little cheesy, but the world
really like it.
But the world building is completely different, and he gave us a bunch of new epic memories of Star Wars in a whole different way. Because you watch the originals and you watch the prequels, it's like 2 different things. They connect, but you're expanding that world of Star Wars, And
new memories. You're exactly right. And to that point, I haven't really noticed a new memory in these last 2 films.
Don't they feel like some alternate nightmare?
Yeah,
of I like Force Awakens. Don't get me wrong.
And I'm like, I guess I've never really given it much thought in the last 2, like to the extent of like people being like, "Yo, this isn't it." But more you think about it, you're like, they really have not done much with what they could have been doing, you know, with the new movies, and which might be why I like Rogue One so much, is because my favorite moment in these new Star Wars is that Darth Vader scene.
Yeah,
amazing.
Because it's the most recent Darth Vader that we've gotten, aside from obviously 4, 5, and 6, whenever it happened.
Yeah.
Long time ago, which literally feels like a long time ago. You know? Yeah. And then you had 1, 2, and 3, which was like the beginning of Darth Vader. But then after that, we never really got a savage Darth Vader.
Which we saw through. How epic is that moment, right? When he starts rising up as Darth Vader, or when Yoda's fighting Palpatine.
Yes.
These are moments that it's George Lucas trying something different, telling you a story. Because that's what the first things first. He has great stories, and you're getting new memories within Star Wars.
Yep.
He wasn't just trying to copy the originals. Yeah. And that's what's happening with these new ones. And
I'd actually be interesting to see how they cap off this 9 movies. How they
gonna
because
I have no faith in the movie.
Force Awakens.
Because how are they gonna end it? Like they really have no there's no direction that is going. Like there is, but there isn't. You know?
Yeah,
like,
they're lost.
They're lost.
Like the first 2 movies, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then now it's
like where are we going?
And now it's like, guess what? Palpatine's back. We gotta end the story. And J.J. Abrams is like, oh, but not just for this trilogy, because that's what people are forgetting about. Everybody's like, oh yeah, just forget the past. Like, I love this new trilogy, but J.J. Abrams is like, we have to. This is the Skywalker saga. We have to finish. Needs to complete all 9 films. Yeah. It needs to be wrapped up, tied into a bow very nicely. Yeah. People seem to forget that, and that's what I think. That's what made Last Jedi so controversial and so divided, because there's literally, if you remember the movie, a scene where the whole movie, what is Kylo Ren preaching? Forget the past, let it die. Forget the past. Yeah. And it's like, you can't, we bash on Rian Johnson, the director. We bash on him all the time. He's like, who do you think you are coming in here and doing no respect? Yeah. And there's so many subliminal
it's like messages to the audience.
Yeah.
The opening scene with Luke Skywalker. What does he do with the lightsaber? How disrespectful is that? Think about it.
That's
you know?
I didn't really notice it, because I guess I just went and saw it, and I didn't really see that one again, but yeah,
exactly.
But if I had seen it, I'd seen it again.
Thank you. Dude, you understand, I was so excited for this movie.
No, the hype level,
I was like endgame level for this movie.
Yeah.
I see on Twitter, no trailers, please be good.
Yeah.
Sat in that theater 40 minutes in, I was like, fuck me, this movie sucks.
Fuck.
Man.
I believe you, bro.
Dude, and when the movie ended, I was walking out.
We were like, what just happened?
Like, this did not happen, right? Like, I didn't just watch a bad Star Wars film.
Wow.
And I was like, I was so hurt. I was like, dude, you know what? Fuck Rian Johnson for what he did.
No,
to Star
because
Wars.
it's because Force Awakens, it was a good movie.
I've seen that movie a couple times.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, it's good. But it needed Last Jedi to be even better.
Yeah, it needed something to flow the.
Yeah.
Because how much did Force Awakens set up, right? Yeah. It set up a lot. Rey gets that lightsaber. Set up a lot. How did you get this lightsaber? That's for another time.
Yeah. We lost Han Solo. It was a lot of
It sets up a lot.
Yeah.
And then the
Netflix has recommended me Last Jedi so many times, and I've never clicked on it.
Don't listen to Netflix.
Don't listen to
Netflix.
Dude, because it's long. Last Jedi is a long movie.
And it progresses the story in no way. And you've only seen it once, right?
Yeah.
So,
thank God.
This is like I'm gonna give you this little feedback, and when you can, watch it again as a Star Wars fan. Like what you were saying about the prequels and the original, think of the characters, right? Last Jedi. Everything that Force Awakens sets up, and it's not even just, it's like literally in the movie and also like subliminally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How Force Awakens, when it ended, how epic was that moment when she's giving him the lightsaber and he's looking at her like he was up to something, like he knew, he felt something.
He was turned on.
He was Last Jedi. He's like, that's already one
literally indicates what's gonna happen.
That's one big fuck you to the audience, what you think is gonna happen, because because Rian Johnson, he's known for subverting expectations. That's like his thing.
That's why I'm not watching Knives Out.
Yeah. So
you're not.
No,
I've heard great things about it though.
No, dude, we're very hurt, man.
I don't support his movies no more.
Really?
I'm done
because
with that guy.
Because of Star Wars.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because everybody that we've had on, and I'm like, our listeners
sorry again for bashing Last Jedi.
Our consistent listeners must laugh at us, because anytime we get somebody new
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but why do you hate Last Jedi so much? And we're just like, I'm going to explain something to you. And then by the time I'm done, they're like, oh, shit.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. And there's facts. Yeah. What I'm about to tell you is straight facts. So I'm going to start with the little things. The lightsabers, the little subliminal jabs at not just The Force Awakens that J.J. Abrams set up, and that's a hard task.
Yeah.
How many years since it's a sequel to the original trilogy, so that's 30 years later.
Yeah.
Classics, right? The reception for the prequels weren't so great, so Star Wars was kind of like, and now you're bringing it back. That's a stressful task, and he did it well. Yeah. He brought it back. He got the fans excited.
It has a few issues.
It has issues.
Number 4 on the top grossing movie list.
Fans loved it. It made fans excited again. Does it redo some of the story plots But JJ did come out saying, I know what I did.
Yeah.
I just had to find a way to bring the fans back. To trust us with it. Fine, I respect that. But he did introduce new characters, and we like the characters in the new movie.
100%.
Fine. So I get it. And his plan was he had an outline, set it up safely, then go into new territory and let it do its thing. Now, Disney, Lucasfilm, gave Rian Johnson the next movie.
Oh, great.
He wrote it by himself, by the way. Nobody else.
Already, red flag number 1.
Flag number 1. This guy, you saw the opening scene. Yeah. That was the thing. Yeah. Luke, completely different character. You remember the original trilogy. How was Luke? Hopeful. No, there's good in my father. Yeah. I can help him.
Yes.
To, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, get away from me. Yeah. Oh, the Force is dead. Where's Han? Right? Han Solo. And all he asks once to acknowledge, where's Han? They look at him, cuts away. Yeah, I know, that table moves. Cuts away, no mention of Han Solo again. At all. If you notice. That's why I'm telling you. Yeah. Rewatch it when you can.
Yeah. I've noticed all of these things.
Never mentioned again. So that's already like a disrespect to Han Solo, right? Rian Johnson came out, actually, Mark Hamill himself. He's bashed on the movie.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube right now and look up Mark Hamill.
I think I came across like the title of him saying something bad about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't remember clicking on it.
And it's not clickbait.
It's real.
Look up Mark Hamill.
30 minutes of him bashing on Rian Johnson. And
somebody made like a montage video of all the clips and there's a 30-minute video.
That's crazy.
Look up Mark Hamill bashing Last Jedi, and everything he says is like, oh, I mean, this is not Luke Skywalker. This is somebody else because Luke would never do this. Yeah. And he's fought with Rian Johnson throughout the set. Yeah. But Disney came in and was like, no, this needs to stop. Yeah, because they took Rian Johnson's side
over him.
Of course.
Which is this is the heart and soul stuff.
Really, really is. He's what my uncles and aunts went to go see when they talk about Star Wars,
Because it's crazy because Mark Hamill, George Lucas told him years ago, I think when he did Empire or Return, George Lucas told me, hey, we're going to do a sequel in 2012 or 2013.
He's like, I'll let you know.
Yeah, and he's going to write it, and he'll let you know.
So this guy had all these stories.
And they were filming Empire, and he already planned
he had that.
Long.
Yeah.
So for Mark Hamill, man, I had to, that's to be cool.
He had 20 years worth of stuff
plus,
ready.
Jeez. He didn't really get to work with Carrie again, or Han, or Chewie. Never Carrie passed.
Yeah.
So he couldn't do scenes with them again. And now Han is dead, Carrie passed away. Now he dies.
And the fact that he kills Luke Skywalker at the end.
Him, yeah. And for Mark Hamill, George Lucas probably told him his whole other idea.
Yeah, like this is where you're gonna be involved in as.
Yeah, like if he
because Luke was supposed to be training.
Yeah, training
Rey. He would have been the Rocky to the Creed. Like he would have been a part of like the I guess the coach or somebody who's not the main part of the film, but he's like an over like looking over the shoulder type thing.
Because the original idea was Luke training this character of Rey.
What was Akira?
Her name was gonna be Kira. J.J. Abrams. It was similar. I think he just wanted to build it up to that moment, you know, and. Luke was supposed to train her, and we kind of see that at the end of The Force Awakens. Last Jedi, he keeps him on the island. He's a grumpy old man. He doesn't care about anything. Han Solo died, doesn't care. It's his nephew. You would think he would try, there's good in him. And then what he does with Luke thinking about killing his nephew because he thought he was going to go bad.
Yeah.
That's such a...
When Darth Vader was evil, and he managed...
to
These
become,
are already contradictions there. Then he kills him in the island. He never leaves the island. And then,
crazy.
So it's like,
Never
and that's just the fundamental movie.
Yeah.
But then behind the scenes, Mark Hamill's arguing with Rian Johnson. He's like, hey, why, C-3PO, right? Of course, C-3PO. That scene when Luke comes in to talk to Leia, when he's like a hologram.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, when he says hi to Last Jedi.
Yeah.
When he says hi to C-3PO, when he's like, that was not in the script. Mark Hamill had to, like, push for that. He's like, hey, he told Rian Johnson, hey, like, how are you going to have me in this scene and not acknowledge C-3PO and R2? Was R2 dude? No, he wasn't in that scene.
No, it was only,
It was C-3PO.
Yeah.
And he's like, how are you not going to have me acknowledge C-3PO? And he had to tell him a couple of times while shooting. And this is fact. Like, there's articles and everything. And Rian Johnson was like, yeah, whatever. Just do whatever you want.
Is he doing this movie that's coming out?
No. This JJ who did Force Awakens, he's coming back.
Oh, shit.
And there's more.
So now it's like he's got to, like, fix it up and then somehow
exactly.
end it.
You're getting me. Because now he has to fix this up while ending it. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
That's 2 movies worth of stuff that he has to do.
Something that's crazy enough said it's already done. Like, we're waiting to see what he's done already. Yeah,
2 weeks away.
I'm going to be in India when it comes out. Like, I'm trying to figure out what theater to go to, what to see.
Find a way, man.
I'm going to have to find a way.
I got 2 tickets for, like, the big IMAX theater in Fort Lauderdale.
Nice.
And then just the AMC, for opening night.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, man. There's a lot. Rian Johnson came out saying, that was one. And then Rian Johnson came out talking about Empire Strikes Back. He's like, but I mean, I didn't like Empire Strikes Back when it first came out, but he was comparing his movie to Empire. It's like, dude, you don't No. Empire's essentially one of the best Star Wars movies of all time.
No, it has one of the greatest moments in history of film.
Yeah.
Vader and
the I am your father moment.
Yes, I am your father,
yeah. So there's a lot, man. I mean, Rian Johnson, what was the other one? That with Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill was like, I fundamentally disagree with everything you're doing. And he was like,
He didn't care.
And then there's a video of Rian Johnson. This is on YouTube when he was younger. He was doing Brick. He was doing, like, other movies. Because I actually like his previous movies.
Like Brick and Looper.
And he came out saying, my goal as a director, I don't like when everyone likes my movies. I like divisive movies. So his
movie was very divisive. If you're saying, like, it's causing backlash on Twitter and stuff like that. So.
And his previous movies, I guess, are known to be like that. So, like, his goal which I find that strange because it's like, as a director, you want to make a good movie. That's your first intention. That's not, the first, how can I make this so that it
divisive to the public. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you look at Last Jedi, it's very divisive, and what he did was intentional.
Mm-hmm. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah. It's just too obvious.
Yeah.
Because one of the characters, he was like, I want to put characters in this that I know don't belong there, like they don't fit in, but I want to put them anyway.
Yeah.
And he was saying, look what he does with Luke. Look what he does with Mark Hamill. There's another quote that Mark Hamill, they were telling him there's a deleted scene where where Luke and Leia share a bond through the Force and they're mourning Han's death.
Yeah.
Which is actually a really nice scene. It's a shot. It's on YouTube. And Rian Johnson took it out. And they asked him, why did you take it out? And he's like, pacing issues. It just wasn't going to fit in with the movie. And Mark Hamill
probably would have been one of the better scenes in the movie.
Exactly. But my theory is he took it out because he knows it contradicts with how his character is acting.
Exactly.
How are you going to have him mourning Han and then the next scene being like, no, get away from me.
Yeah.
No. And Mark Hamill came out saying like, we don't have time to mourn Han's death, but we have time for me to milk a cow's titty and me to drink it. He said that. He said that himself.
He has nothing to lose, I feel, because you literally killed him off.
He got screwed over. He said it.
Off.
I feel like they told him one thing. With Force Awakens, it sets up everything. He was probably supposed to train her. And then he's filming this, and he's like, what? This is supposed to be my movie, and this is what you're doing?
What are you doing?
Exactly. And for him to say that, because you remember that scene, right, when he's milking it?
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
And he was like, we have time for that, but not, it's so many things, man. When you go back and try to watch it whenever you can, you're going to notice it. Or just go on YouTube and look up Last Jedi. There's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like analysis videos, full on just breaking down the movie and why it like fundamentally like intentionally just breaks everything. Now, and like what you were saying, now JJ has to come back because it was a different director, Colin Trevorrow, who did Jurassic World. I don't know if you're a fan of those movies.
I like those movies.
He was supposed to do it, and he had different plans because he was following the outline of what JJ had done. But Luke died in 8.
Now he's
and he was like, no. And the rumor is that he went to Disney. He was like, no, look, like, I need him alive because it was going to be him and Leia using the Force together. But then Carrie Fisher passed away, so he had to rewrite it. Yeah. And he's like, look, I need Luke alive.
Are they using CGI for her? Or are they also
actual footage?
Oh. But I think a little because in the trailer, it looked like a body double.
Yeah, it looks like a body double, but what they're saying is that there's footage that they didn't use in Force Awakens that actually, it was a lot of footage, and they were able to like
blend it with the story.
Use it with the story and like work around it.
Sounds good.
Write the script around it. Yeah. So they're still honoring her acting, and they're not really just CGing her because they didn't want to do that. Yeah. So
I'm sure like if they do have a kill off scene, that scene is probably CGI, I would think.
Yeah, if they kill her off.
If they kill her off.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
You don't think they will? Okay.
I don't think so.
I feel like she'll like...
She's going to have like that impactful scene when she was alive that they filmed and they're working around it. I'm sure they use maybe body doubles to help the scene like fit. And I'm sure it's going to be like a really nice scene and then continue the movie. Yeah, and then continue the movie. Okay. Which, Last Jedi, the Mary Poppins, when she's floating in space.
That scene just came back to me. No.
There's a lot. That's why I rewatched it, man, because...
Wow.
And then Colin Trevorrow followed J.J. Abrams' outline, and he was like, look, I need Luke alive to tell the story. And again, they sided with Rian Johnson. They fired him. He got fired. Colin Trevorrow. And then Last Jedi came out. People were like going crazy. J.J. Abrams came back with a story. Now he has to fix it.
And then somehow end it on a high note,
So it's a mess, how he does. Even the actors have come out talking about it. They're like, oh, yeah, there was like an outline that JJ did. Like, everybody's just kind of like...
Disney, in a sense.
Yeah, everybody's like, yeah, like...
That's the problem with Disney, man. Like, because... I don't know. I feel like Disney, they just step in and they ruin things.
I think they learned their lesson now, though.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what happened with Endgame. I feel like they stepped in and made them. I feel like the movie was too happy.
Yeah.
The movie was so, man, why is the movie so soft? We just came off Infinity War. This movie, it's just jokes for the good 2 hours.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe they backtracked a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
It was, man, because
it was very light. Like, it was a light movie compared to Infinity War.
When they killed Thanos. Awesome, dark. Okay, I want more of that. I was like, wow, this is just comedy. Final battle was sloppy. It was like a lot of like bad like CG.
A lot of reshoots though. There's a lot of reshoots in that
movie. And Thanos, they kind of like, I wanted more Thanos in the movie. And
is that how you say it, by the way?
I think so. I hear Thanos. I hear Thanos.
I said because I've been calling him Thanos this whole time.
I hear both. I can't. I don't know.
It's like GIF or GIF.
GIF,
yeah. You know how everybody.
Yeah. So
tomatoes. Tomatoes.
Tomato.
But like that's the problem with Disney. They just let them work. Just let them do what they want. And because Endgame, man, it was like soft. Jesus.
Yeah, I think
it's coming from a guy who rated it 9 out of 10 at his first viewing.
Yeah, man. Because sometimes you gotta let him. That's why I'm a big.
You gotta watch it a couple times.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, Kobe says, I don't know how much you guys follow basketball or sports.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Kobe said that he watches certain movies that he likes 4 times. So the first time he'll do it completely as like a spectator. Second time he'll view it from because now he's into storytelling. I don't know if you guys know this.
Yeah.
He's
doing. Well, that was kind of like a gimme. I want to kind of say because he got like a little mini animated film off of his poem.
Yeah. It
kind of sort of worked out for him, and I'm happy that it did because he's my favorite player.
Yeah.
So to see him win that was pretty incredible. But now that he's doing like story, he says now he's like a storyteller. Like that's his cool. Mission. He wants to be a better storyteller than he was a basketball player. He says when he watches movies, even when he was playing, when he watched movies, he did it first as a spectator. Second, to see like the actors and how focused they were, and like they're like literally studying the actors. Third, for like a storytelling perspective, and then fourth, like kind of like a culmination of like all of those things.
Yeah.
It's a good way to look at it.
So he like, which when I saw, I was like, damn, 4 times, really? Like, because watching a movie 4 times, like, unless you really love something. Like Endgame, I've probably seen it, I think 5 or 6 times.
And when you watch it, the more times you start to dissect it more. You start noticing things, and that's when you start noticing, is the movie better as you watch it? Or is it worse? Which is interesting, you know?
Because you go in with certain biases, I would say.
Yeah.
The hype. You're excited.
Because when I first gave it a 9, it was the hype. But then I was like, wait a minute. I kept watching it more. I was like, you know what? I don't like this movie. I really don't like the movie.
That happened a lot. Just with Star Wars, people are like, oh, I loved it, or some people are like, oh no, it was because some people.
That's how I rationalize The Last Jedi. Is like, oh, it was good. Like, it was, but then now that you're bringing points into perspective,
if you were to watch it
with that, I'm like,
if you were to watch it more
again, I'd probably have a completely different perspective, especially with the information that I've just, that I just got about like the behind the scenes that I didn't know,
and
that
even
I didn't
things
research,
that you see, and the things that you just see there, And that's when I remember the first time it came out, people were like, "Oh," because you're excited. You don't want to say it sucked. You don't want to let yourself down. Bro. So everybody's like, "Oh, it was good." Oh, like,
how was the movie? Oh, it was good.
Yeah,
it was good. Then, even though you might have left the movie theater a little disappointed.
I left. I was when it ended. I kind of took a moment. I was like extremely disappointed, but I didn't want to say it yet.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh."
We bought the popcorn.
We bought the souvenir popcorn. The whole thing. I remember it ended. I was like,
Star Wars?
Yeah.
I didn't know those things existed until Endgame. Or Infinity Wars. I think I got one for Infinity War. I got one for Spider-Man. I got one for...
Yeah, like for AMC, we got like the Toy Story 4.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like Woody bought.
I've been collecting them now.
Yeah.
Like every single movie that I go see that I really like,
cool.
if they have, I just go and get it.
It's cool.
Because now when eventually we have home theaters in our homes, we can now use that as like a popcorn thing.
I love it. Yeah, I love making popcorn at home. So you use that.
And we got the Endgame too, right? I think we got the Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah. So anytime we can, we do.
Me too.
And it's true, man, because that's the hype plays such a big part, because people, you don't want to be let down, And I remember with the Last Jedi, I was like, the first thing I told Josh was like, we gotta watch this again.
Yeah.
And watching it again, you're like, oh.
Our dad hated the movie.
And then you watch it again, and you're like, oh. And
quick question: your dad a big movie buff as you guys?
He
likes Star Wars.
He likes Star Wars.
He hates it. He Star Wars. He only likes Rogue One. He couldn't finish Solo.
I haven't seen Solo.
Yeah, like my dad, he couldn't finish Solo. He hates Last Jedi. Like he doesn't like. He only likes Rogue One. Yeah. All the rest he doesn't really like.
Mandalorian's great.
And he loves
that.
He loves the show.
I think Star Wars, the game they're saying is really well, and so I'm hoping they learn their lesson, and now they can. Just
I think it's in good hands with JJ. Like his
he's capping it off.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he can save it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's too much damage.
It's too much. Yeah. I mean, because you killed off Mark.
and
you know what I mean?
It did so much damage. It killed off Luke. Now you lost Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Palpatine comes out of nowhere.
And I think he said he always had that plan, but I don't know.
No build-up.
That's the thing. The middle movie is the most important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you watch the original trilogy, Empire, it sets you up and you're ready.
100%.
It's the sandwich. The meat. If you don't have good meat. The bread is
Empire
pointless.
Loses.
Yeah.
Loses his hand.
Yeah.
He loses. That's like a big. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's
and with the new trilogy with Rey, the one issue that I have with Force Awakens is that they made Rey perfect in Force Awakens. Like I didn't like the fact that she
there's no losses, kind of in a sense. Like in Rocky, Rocky ended with Rocky losing, and you're like when I first saw Rocky, I saw Rocky recently. Not recently as in like a year or two ago, but like I'm saying I think maybe 6 years ago was my first time really touching the Rocky films. And I wanted to see what the hype was about. And I was like, I looked into Rocky and I'm like, yo, he loses the first fight, like the first movie? Yeah. He loses? What is this? And then you start to see the pattern. And then when Creed came out, I kind of already knew what to expect. I knew Creed was going to lose at the end of Creed 1. Yeah. And I knew he was going to win in Creed 2.
Yeah, I remember Creed. It was too dramatic.
Yeah,
it was a little too much.
Yeah, Creed was like a modern day Rocky. Like they copied Rocky in modern day.
I like 1, 2. I was like,
No, 2 was
a little dramatic. 2 was and that's a movie that I saw multiple times where I was like, yo, this movie's lost its appeal. Like I saw it in theaters one time, I loved it. Mm-hmm. I ended up buying it when it came out on digital. Bought it. I saw it a second time, like. Okay, I'm noticing that I'm going on my phone a little bit here and there. Like I'm losing a little bit of interest in the film. Like usually I don't. Like if I'm on my phone, like that means something in the movie has lost my interest, or I'm like, I've drawn attention away from it. And that movie, like watching it multiple times, I'm like, yo, I don't think I really like this movie. It's not worth me buying it on digital. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's.
It was so dramatic. I was like, dude, why are you so dramatic right now?
Yeah, 2 was a little bit
2 was a little much.
Yeah, compared to 1, I completely get that.
Yeah. No, 1 was alright.
But going back to
like boxing is just hard to do because of fighting. Because you can't do all 12 rounds. You gotta do
you gotta do the highlight reel.
Yeah, the highlight reel to get
Yeah, man. So it's There's a lot, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and
excited for the end of Star Wars though.
I'm hoping it's good, man.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he can do it.
I don't know. It's just it's tough. It's tough because
it's a tough job.
I don't care about the characters. I really don't.
Yeah. Because we haven't grown enough to like love
Yeah.
them in a sense. Like we haven't grown enough bonds with them.
The second movie, that's the essential movie for you to. Okay, you set them up here. Now the second movie is where you really start to like fall for the characters. The stories that is starting to really pick up now.
Did you guys see Sicario, the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys like it?
Yeah. It wasn't too bad.
It's a.
Like I felt like that movie was like literally the meat in a sandwich. Like I felt like it was setting up for something that's supposed to come in the third movie, but the movie didn't have a begin it didn't have a general movie has like a conflict or something like that. This movie just felt like it was literally the middle piece. And it was leading to something that's either coming next or it was reminiscing off of what came before.
Yeah.
It was just there.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was, but...
Yeah, like it was missing.
So that's why I draw the comparison to Star Wars, where I was like, that movie sort of feels like it left off.
Yeah.
Like, when I went to go see the movie, I was like from the first viewing, I was like, is this the end of the movie? Like, where's the... Like, how did it end like this? Why is, Benicio del Toro, like, at the end, like, his face looks fine, even though he just got... He got shot. You remember?
That was crazy. That was crazy.
He's supposed to have died. He's living now. No brief into that.
Yeah, no, because it went through the cheeks, right? Like,
that's how he survived.
That's
how he
survived.
Strange. But it was like, but then at the end you have him like sitting like clean cut. Like it didn't seem like there were any scars. Maybe if I go see it again, I'll notice something. But I almost kind of don't want to see it again because I'm like, this movie is just literally me spending 2 hours of just watching amazing cinematography.
Yeah.
But like it has no.
Compared to the first one.
Compared to the first one, was fucking incredible.
I can watch the first one. There's certain movies that when you put it on TV, when you watch, there's certain movies when they're on TV and you put it on, you can't not watch it.
Yeah.
And that's one of them.
That's one of them.
With Kill Bill. That was on TV. I was like, man, this is a good ass movie.
Good ass movie. Yeah.
Like, dude, this is a good ass. Like,
Arrival's
movie.
another one. Have you seen it?
I have not seen Arrival.
Oh.
Really?
Good one, man.
Really?
Good one.
That's the Alien movie, right? Where the lady
Amy
talks
Adams
to the
Yeah.
It's really that good.
Watch it.
Is that on HBO? I think it's on HBO.
It might
I've never
be.
seen them. Like I like watching movies where I'm like in shock.
Yeah.
Like I think Arrival and what was the one with Natalie Portman?
Annihilation.
Dude,
I didn't see that one either.
Dude, that one I was like.
Both very good movies.
Oh wait, they was the same director?
No.
No.
Arrival's.
I might bootleg Arrival tonight.
Shout out to
Arrival.
No, very good, man.
Really like. I remember that year I was pissed at the Oscars because they snubbed Amy Adams. I was like, how do you not nominate Amy Adams?
You're gonna love it.
Like she carried that whole movie and
Really?
she doesn't get nominated.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, like fuck the Oscars.
I'm definitely checking that one out now. For sure.
Like that movie was really good. The soundtrack is beautiful. It was just.
Oh, you gotta restart. Are you seeing it on your computer too?
Yeah, like I'm using OBS.
Oh, nice.
So you see, like this is the kind of like the format it's gonna look like.
Oh wow.
And then the black, I'm gonna
That's
like
cool.
overcut it. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, man, watch Arrival.
Okay.
Arrival is one of those that anytime you watch it,
and
Annihilation.
Like
Arrival and
Both
I'm gonna write that
very
down.
good.
I'm gonna write Annihilation down. I know Arrival.
Arrival is the director. Denis, I can't say his last name. Villeneuve. He did like.
Dune, right?
What was that other movie you mentioned earlier? You would base your character off of
Wish You're Never Really Here.
Wish You Were Never Really Here.
Wish You Were
Those are three very very good movies.
I mean,
Arrival we've seen a couple of times already, like 3-4 times.
No, I love that movie every time.
And every time you watch it,
I just love it.
it's like
really
yeah.
Okay.
Man, because the acting is so strong.
Yeah.
And the story
when you see,
too.
Like really good acting.
That's the beauty of like movies. I think in general, like film in general is based off of really good acting, which over time has sort of like died down because we fall more for the action and for like
because look at Joker. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
dude, like that's like good.
That's
both great movies.
Dude, like the acting is so like with Leo in that movie.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh
dude,
shit!
I love it.
I love that. Oh shit!
Yeah, like he does. Like I believed him every scene that he was struggling to make it to Hollywood.
And what's crazy?
And probably one of the best 10 minutes at the end of film I've ever seen.
That ending.
Dude, that ending threw me so. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, fuck you.
All the Tarantino fans were like, yes. You know.
Like, and Brad Pitt. I love Brad Pitt in that movie.
Stellar acting.
I got the collector's edition for the 4K. I got
Really?
the 4K DVD.
Oh, yeah.
I pre-ordered it.
That's dope.
and it comes with it's like a whole bundle.
No,
with
it's
vinyl.
huge.
It comes with
vinyl, right?
With a little vinyl.
It comes with
Operation Dynamite. You know,
that's awesome.
I got the whole. I was like, yeah.
That's you need.
And that's a movie that.
That's a movie that I think pays tribute to all of Hollywood and movies as a whole. Like it's like 60s, for some reason it was just beautifully captured. I was in it the whole time.
The music.
Crazy story. When I went to go see it, this guy like 10 seats down from me had like a seizure or a stroke or something. So they stopped the film and we were literally like, then they reversed it. So like we were in theater for like 45 minutes of like paramedics coming, taking the guy out. Felt bad. It felt bad. Like they were giving us free tickets. I was like I'm good, you know. Like I hope they're okay. Like the family that's dealing with the guy who had a seizure or a stroke. Like
it's a shitty night.
It's a shitty way to like to have like I don't want to get a free off of that, you know. If the theater messes up in some way, give me a free thing. But, something happened to you guys in Rogue One?
The audio stopped working.
Oh midway. That would
screen
suck.
Stopped.
That would suck.
We had to leave. Like there was no fixing it. Yeah.
Really?
Midway into the movie.
And then you guys got like a card. And
we went back the next day. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
But no, that was it. That was my experience with the movie, and I remember just enjoying. But like, it's just all those actors just it made.
Yeah.
And I have another example, like what Kobe was saying when you watch a movie over and over again, or if a movie gets better, if it gets worse when you rewatch it. The first time I saw that movie, you know, with the hype and everything, I was kind of like, oh, like it was good. Like the ending was great, but I was like, huh. Like something threw me off, but I was like, it was good. I love the ending. Let me watch it again. Yeah. And I ended up watching the movie 3 more times, and each time it just got better and better and better. And the last time we saw it was when we went up to LA for like a trip.
Perfect.
And we saw it at the Cinerama.
The Icebox.
The dome.
The dome.
The dome. The Cinerama that comes out in the movie. So watching that movie in LA, in that theater, and then
was it packed? Was it packed?
It was empty.
There was a good amount. We got like an 8 a.m. showing though, because we wanted to do a bunch of stuff after that.
Okay, yeah.
So we got like an 8 a.m. showing, and I remember just watching.
Because the movie's long too. Like the
almost 3 hours.
Yeah, the movie's long.
I remember watching it in the dome because it's literally a dome, and like the screen just goes all the way around.
That's pretty dope.
And 70mm film, and I remember watching it, and like, you know, when the music comes on, you know, and it's all the stuff in Hollywood is lighting up, the theaters, and Cinerama shows up. I was like, that experience, I can't even explain it, because between the music and like just the direction of the movie,
it pays homage to like movie lovers everywhere, I think.
That's
the beauty of that movie, I feel.
When we left that trip, that song, the Out of Time song that shows up, Out of Time, that song was stuck in my head with my LA experience, but also with the movie, just seeing it in that theater. I don't know, it's something that I can't explain. It's just like,
that's beautiful.
It was honestly like an experience, like as like for like a film fan. And this is me watching it for like the third time too. It's not like I saw it for the first time there, for the third time, and just it's still.
Well, so what happened when you guys got to LA? You were like, "Yo, we should go see this movie."
Oh yeah, because my sister wanted to see it.
Oh okay, it was her first time.
Watching it.
Okay,
but we hadn't even left yet. That was an easy
decision then.
Exactly.
It was an easy decision.
And I was like, okay, we'll go this week, like when we were here. But I was like, wait a second, what am I doing? We're going to LA. It's a movie about Hollywood. We're going to experience Hollywood. Let's watch it there. And I started looking at the theaters, Cinerama, the Dome, Classic Theater.
Easy.
That's where the movie shows up there. I was like, we're watching this here. I don't care. I got the tickets, you know, because it was selling out. Because that's iconic, you know. Amazing experience. And that's a movie I've seen 3-4 times, and it literally got better each time I saw it.
Dope.
Because the acting is
the acting, the writing, you start to see little things like
that. Al Pacino scene is one of my favorites.
Hilarious.
The one with they're at the.
Margot Robbie,
I love it. The shooting, and he's like.
Margot Robbie, like she does great.
Yeah.
Everything.
People complained about her having such little time, but she's come out and been like.
No, she's a good amount of time in the movie. She doesn't say much, but she conveys.
That's what the problem was, the dialogue.
But she conveys a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I feel like she actually.
The job that she was there to do, which was Sharon Tate, and wasn't easy, she did a great job.
She was able to convey it without speaking.
Yeah.
And I thought that's
more powerful than speaking.
Exactly.
Really
that's what they said about, tying into the movie we're here to talk about, Paige, Peggy, the daughter.
Yeah.
they were saying that she
has
didn't
very
speak.
few lines.
7 lines or something like that. They were making fun of, and
they were making it was like 6 lines.
Like what's his name? I think Chris D'Elia tweeted it, and I was looking at it just today, where he was like, "That's like, did you guys not pay attention to her silence? Like the moment of her silence, like spoke louder than words.
Exactly.
Then that was sort of the focus of like it's narrated from Frank's experience.
Yeah." She didn't speak to him.
They didn't have a great relationship. What else do you want? Like you can't force words.
Yeah. No, let's. We should just get into it. You want to get into it? Let's
Super.
do it.
Yeah.
We're an hour in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it though.
Yeah, it's.
I'm having a great. Yeah, time's been flying. Like
it's been great. Let's. So Irishman.
Okay.
Let's do it. All right, guys.
Do you guys have any other topics you wanted to get into beforehand?
I don't know, man. I feel like we kind of crushed.
A lot.
We kind of crushed a lot.
Yeah, I think we. Yeah.
I feel bad for people listening. I feel like we
went 30 minutes Star Wars and then
we jumped around. We were Avatar, Star Wars. The thing, man. When I get into Star Wars, it's hard. I try to hold myself back.
Because it's a passion, though. You're passionate about it.
And there's so much that was done that was just so unfair.
Yeah.
That it hurt.
No, you brought awareness to me for someone who hadn't seen it twice. Now when I go see it again, I'm gonna be like,
just don't mention Game of Thrones season 8 around me.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't want to talk about it either. Who's your favorite character in that whole show?
Oh, Khaleesi.
Khaleesi?
Emilia Clarke is my celebrity crush.
Oh, yeah, she's bad. But my favorite was the Night King, and literally okay, we're not gonna get into that.
All I'm gonna say is
I'm gonna rant on it.
Season 8 of Game of Thrones to us is equivalent to The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Night King and Jon Snow are Luke Skywalker.
But they could have easily, they could have easily done another season, man. They rushed so many things.
2019, a lot of things are coming like to an ending, and
it's been kind of this.
Honestly, the only good thing is for me is Mr. Robot right now. I don't know if you watch Mr. Robot.
No.
Dude,
Great
that show is
really
no. Like it's up there like with Breaking Bad.
Oh wow.
Like fuck Game of Thrones. That's
you guys are gonna get mad, but I haven't seen Breaking Bad either. It's one of my summer. Like for this summer, I want to binge watch the whole
Breaking
thing.
Bad and then watch Better Call Saul. It's a prequel to Breaking Bad. Okay. 2 great shows, and then Mr. Robot. Like highly.
Oh, you're actually gonna start in a perfect time because El Camino came out.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can.
So I just want to hit all of that. Like when El Camino came out was when I was really like, yo, I should have probably seen this because I've been wanting to see it for a while. But there's other shows that I'm constantly on, or I'm doing other things like
so many things.
There's so many things where I'm like, yo, it's literally with streaming and everything like that, you can watch so much stuff. Like right now, I'm catching up on The Sopranos. Like I had never seen The Sopranos, and now I've been
thinking about watching it, but I don't know.
It's been really good. So I mean, if you're into mob stuff, like it's really really good. Like for me, I love mafia and mob films. So for me, like that was something that started out really slowly, where I was like, damn, it's kind of slow. But then once you get into it, you become like a part of it.
Yeah, like Mr. Robot is.
That one is ending. It's ending now. We're watching it. 4 seasons.
4 seasons. And it's on Netflix. You said.
No, it's on
USA Network.
Okay.
But they have it on
Amazon Prime. Has it.
The first 3 seasons.
Dude, I mean, it's one of my top shows, man.
It's up there with Breaking Bad
because it's 4 seasons. It's ending now. It's got a few episodes left, and that's it. It's over. But it's the 4 like most powerful seasons.
And the acting that you see from that show, when I tell you that's like the best acting I've seen on a TV show.
Yeah.
Like that's like. It's like Oscar-worthy acting in a TV show. It's crazy.
It's
how
with
good they are.
Christian Slater,
Rami Malek,
who did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, oh shit.
So you got some
Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot.
Dude, like the acting in that show is powerful. Like,
that's an easier one. I think you can catch up on just because it's
10 episodes.
It's like 10 episodes.
10 for season 13.
And it's like hour-long episodes, or
40.
Oh, okay, like the standard.
Yeah, 40
Yeah,
minutes. Great show, man. Yeah. It's a shame because season 8 of Game of Thrones. I mean, again, the hype level. You're excited, and then
I had caught up on. So when season 8 was being primed, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I was one of those people that like was prideful that I'd never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. You know, I don't know why. Like it's like a thing on the internet. Like when you haven't seen an episode of Game of Thrones, and it's like you being like somehow it's like a thing that you. So it wasn't for that reason, but I just never see it, and I was like, I'm not gonna see it. I'm not gonna watch it for whatever reason. Now thinking that was very stupid because once I started watching, I'm like, damn, this is really good. And then I got to season 8 when season 8 started, and wow,
That's just
that downfall, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think that I started when I did because I wouldn't have had to wait for as long as some people did for that shitty of a season.
Yeah, because we started watching when season 3 ended.
So what I'm saying, you had to wait like 2 years for season 8 to come out.
Exactly.
So we waited every year.
And you were like, man, season 8's gonna be epic.
Because
like,
they were like, yo, guys, it's the biggest battle, biggest.
I would have loved it had the Night King sat on the throne.
Thank you.
Like, had the Night King came and sat on the throne, I would have been like, yo, this is the greatest ending of any show ever.
Yeah, like either Khaleesi on the throne or Night King just as fucking like, even though he technically kills everyone in that third episode because he fucked them in the ass.
Oh, he
like
dude,
like they were surrounded. Dude,
that was a great episode though. I hated how it ended, but that was a great fucking episode.
Not the plot armor really got me upset.
I feel like a lot of characters should have died.
Yeah.
But considering Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones track record,
they were all cornered. Yeah. They were literally
They should have died.
Because technically the season is amazing. Like the shots, the effects. I mean, movie caliber.
But you can't like from the story. You can't really look at it like from that perspective because they really just shat on 8 episodes. Like, what was it? 8 episodes, I think. 6 episodes. They just. They could have easily been 8 episodes though.
You know what's weird when
with that time jump.
Yeah, when the first episode aired of season 8, I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
But I was like,
there's hope.
No, like the show's gonna be bad. Like the season's gonna suck.
You knew it from that. I had for some reason I had clung on to some hope that they were gonna fix everything in the remaining episodes, and then episode 3 happened where I was like. I personally really loved the episode, but on the end, I hated how it in the main obviously for me, the Night King was the guy for him to die off. I was like, I was like, that sucks. But in all, that was probably the best episode of the season. Yeah, and that was something that I was like, yo,
I was into the episode the whole time, and then that ending, I was like, oh. Yeah, and then when you do watch the episode more, you start to notice how some things don't make sense.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
When I saw the first episode, I
was worried.
We were both like, "Oh, this feels weird."
Yeah, because
did you feel the same way?
I felt the same way. Like when season 1 happened, I was like, episode 1 happened, I was like,
this feels odd. The tone, something was different.
Whoa, because for me, I had seen everything up until that point, so I had
fresh.
That's a fresh wound, my friend.
No, but also I was so connected to everything that had happened, and the way the tone, you're talking about, through different seasons. It was very kind of the same, like whatever it was very good.
And then you're like, whoa.
And then all of a sudden, like you said, the tone shifted, and you're like, wait, we have 5 more episodes left, and I wonder what what are they gonna do?
No, and what got me even more upset was that the writers, they wanted HBO would do 10 seasons.
Yeah.
And they
could have easily done it by now.
Yeah, they want to do 10 seasons of one with the Night King, one with Cersei, and one with Khaleesi turning mad.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we can do it.
In 5
in 6 episodes, we can do
It's not even a full season either.
No,
it's like 6 episodes.
Yeah, because it was supposed to end in 7.
Yeah.
But they decided to split it in half. And
they rushed the ending, the last 3 episodes, boom, boom, boom. Everything,
that was my worry.
Each episode could have been its own individual build up.
That was my worry. That's what we were talking about. It was actually here on the show. We were like, man, I love the show, but I have a feeling all this build up and they're gonna just try to end it in 2 minutes. Yeah. It's the most, when something is super exciting and then it ends too quick and you're like, wait, but that wasn't satisfying.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. I loved episode 2 though.
Oh, you know,
which one was that one? You have to
when they pretty much close off every character's arc when Brienne becomes a knight.
Oh,
that was awesome.
Yes, that was actually really great.
That
was actually really great. Yeah. That was really good.
Episode 1, I was like, episode 2.
But even then, I was like, okay, this is a good in the right. It's a step in the right direction. I'm hoping the next episodes would somehow cap the whole season off in a really in the right way. But then when episode 3 happened and the Night King died, and I was like. And whoever's watching this, if you haven't seen it, I feel
where are you?
Yeah, where are you really?
The thing is, it was so bad. Don't even bother watching it.
Yeah,
there's no point because
I'll just spoil it for you.
No, because the ending is not you know what?
Bro, 7 seasons of building up this Night King. That's a beast.
He's so badass.
A savage.
Dude, he's badass.
That one scene, I forgot what. The Battle of something where it's in the water and where he's just looking off at all of them getting away.
Season 5.
What?
5.
What? The whole time I'm like, yo, we have not gotten enough of the Night King. I want more of the Night King.
And how much did they tease Jon Snow and the Night King?
Oh, I wish they would have had a battle, bro. They never had a battle.
Now, once he never drew his sword.
Him falling from the dragon is the most calm way anyone's ever fallen off of a dragon. He's literally looking and grinning with his sword.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo.
Like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, like, dude, but like before that, he's taken out a whole dragon with one spear. Like so calm, just walked up to it. It was like took 12 seconds to aim at this dragon.
But so calm too. He was like,
dude. No, because I feel like there were
so robotic. Hit the dragon spot on.
Yeah. They were teasing this whole thing with Night King and
Jon Snow.
No, and Jon Snow.
And they never had a fight.
Dude, he got nailed in the ass this season. Dude,
what was Jon Snow's line the whole season? You are my queen.
I love you.
No, you are my queen. I don't want it.
I don't want it.
You are my queen. I don't want it. I don't want it. And then he...
No,
he probably had one of the worst endings.
Yeah.
I think. I feel so bad for Jon Snow.
They listened to Grey Worm.
Yeah.
To send him
Yeah.
back to the
Yeah, Grey Worm.
Oh, fuck you.
Grey Worm.
Like, fuck you, Grey Worm. Okay, you're a little pussy.
Yeah, like, since when did he become so, like,
important?
Powerful?
Yeah.
Okay, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay,
They could have even fought for, what is it? The
trial by combat.
Trial by combat.
That's even more...
That's way better than...
Jon Snow was done so dirty.
No.
I
feel like we were done the dirtiest.
We were all Jon Snow.
We were all done
the dirtiest.
Jon Snow. In episode 5, Khaleesi wins. Okay. Women and children all die.
Yeah.
And then Grey Worm is like killing innocent women and children.
Yeah, I was like,
and her people are like raping.
I was like, why did they go this route so quickly? Like, first of all, she beat Cersei. Awesome. I hate Cersei. Yeah. But then
that ending for her was. What did Cersei do the whole season?
Stupidest ending.
Drinks wine, rocks fall on her.
Cersei, she actually hates her death in the show. She said she wanted to go down like fighting. She didn't like the way her character dies. It's so like, wait, that's so out of place.
That's why I keep saying how this show, the ending, like, has the same impact and the same kind of division as Last Jedi. Because the actors are even talking about it. The actors in Game of Thrones, like in Last Jedi, they're like, Cersei's character did not like it. She was like,
Emilia
why?
Clarke,
Emilia Clarke, she's nice about it because, she's super nice, but she was kind of like, yeah.
No, but they asked her the question, how's the ending? And she's like, best season ever.
You cut the sarcasm.
Best season ever.
Yeah.
I wish we'd seen it before.
Did you watch after when the show ended? It was like a making.
The 2 hours, I have not seen that. I still have to see that.
Wait, there's a clip where it's Varys, or they're saying like
the script read.
The script reading.
The script read. And Varys, like, they reached the time where they kill him off. Dude, that guy was so pissed. When he dies, he closed the script and threw it in the middle of the table.
This is literally
back, just like this.
This is Varys right now. He's reading the script, and
Varys
he's like,
dies.
and Varys, because mind you, he does nothing the whole season. And when he actually has something to do,
2 seasons.
In 2 seasons,
2 seasons,
and he has nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
And now, like, something's happening with his character. He's like, yes, and then he's in the next episode. Varys gets blown to torches. He's like, and he just goes.
That Cersei went like this, and Emilia Clarke was sitting there like.
Like when dad is angry at the dinner table or something, everybody's like kind of like.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Dude, he was pissed, dude, because he complained in season 7 that like my character's doing nothing.
And then season 8, yeah, we got you.
Yeah, because of
nothing.
Nothing
plus death.
Yeah, because like that's a season he was trying to poison Khaleesi. And then because
that could have easily gone on.
In the book, he has a bigger role.
Yeah.
I suppose he has a bigger role.
Where does the author play a part in that season? Like, where was he being like, yo, we need to make this long?
Because what happened was the writers, David, I called them
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber because they're both idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they followed the book for the first 4 seasons.
And then they passed the book, right?
Yeah, and they passed the book. So season 5, it was kind of weird a little bit because they're trying to figure it out.
But it was still so good.
Yeah, but I think it was still good because
and 6 as well.
They still had like notes. But season 7, they're on their own. And season 7 is a little like...
Season 7 is passable,
passable.
But you notice the flaws where like, the pacing is really quick.
Yeah,
how's everybody getting here so fast?
It's just them full gore like Ryan Johnson.
Let's end it, baby.
Let's do it, yeah.
And
divisive ending.
Yeah.
And this is my...
Bran! Oh my
Why do you think I came all this way?
Man, if you listen to... Because we reviewed each
episode. Who the
episode.
fuck is Bran? Like, we never got a chance.
For season 5, he was nowhere to be seen. And then he's like, and then in season 6, I can't be the king of anything or lord of anything. And he's like, wait, guess what? I'm the king now.
That's right, because
I would have loved also if the Night King came and he bowed to Bran. Like I read that theory somewhere online.
They had some sort of connection.
Like they had to have but what? Like when are we ever gonna find that out?
Some sort of like forced connection or something. I don't know what's going on here.
And it turns out being nothing.
And he has nothing. Just on a raven, like flying around, having sex with a wolf.
Remember in season 6? In season 6, he's like, "Oh, I can't be king," or something.
And then here I am. And then why do you think I'm here?
No. In season 8, he's like, "Why do you think I came all this way?" You didn't say that 2 years ago.
Oh my god. I will say this: Emilia Clarke should have won an Emmy because she sold it. She did her best to sell her Mad Queen.
She did, yeah.
Considering it was a big
rushed and shit. Yeah.
This is my theory on what
did she win?
No, she didn't.
She didn't. I got so close. Like, dude, like 10 years playing that character. She kills in the last season, and her death. Oh my god.
Stupid.
Dude,
that whole episode was just rushed to the max.
Dude, like it was
they could have easily. No, I'm being so serious. They could have easily done another season of 10 episodes and given everything else a little bit more time. No, because
they wanted 10 seasons. Like HBO was giving them everything. 10 seasons.
So why'd they rush it?
Because of Star Wars. They want to go do Star
Wars. Who, the writers?
Dumb and Dumber. Don't only say their name. Call them Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, they had a deal with Star Wars, but then...
And they got fired now.
And they left Star Wars. Yeah, they're not doing Star Wars anymore.
Gladly, thank you.
Because Star Wars is going through the same thing, right? And then everybody... They got them when Season 8 hadn't come out yet. Then Season 8 comes out.
Everyone was hyped.
Season 8 came out and everybody was like, oh my god, and these guys are doing Star Wars, so I think there was a little bit... Yeah, and Disney and Star Wars, they were already kind of worried.
Disney's
and he wrote Gemini Man.
Oh yeah.
Gemini Man sucked.
And he wrote it. One of the writers wrote...
That movie sucked. Dude, dialogue, terrible. Action's passable. Exactly. Movie was the worst.
Yeah.
I had one of my friends went to go see it opening night. I'm like, yo, how is it? He's like, yo, #it leaked. I'm like, oh my god, like this movie must be amazing. #it leaked. That's it. Yeah. I was like, yo, like this must be, I'm like, yo, why do you say it? He's like, yo, this has literally never been done before. Well, yes, it's never been done before in this way, but it sucked.
Yeah.
But it sucked. Like it was terrible. Like,
and we saw it in the high frame rate. So
the way it was intended for this.
It was even worse than high frame rate.
Because the thing is with high frame rate, everything looks slower because it's so smooth. Yeah. So when they're fighting, they're like, oh. And then we saw it in 3D. We felt like we were watching one of those weird VR commercials.
The worst, yes.
Yeah, like it felt like a store demo. Like it looks really pretty.
Yeah.
But it just sucks. Like it just like.
Yeah.
No, that was bad. That was one of the worst movie decisions. Of 2019.
Writer of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Well, that's enough said.
Yeah,
no, it's all coming to me now.
They left Star Wars. Now they have a deal for like Netflix or something.
Yeah, they want to do something with some Netflix.
And
never watching that show.
Yeah, no, that's it, man. And this is my theory on with like what happened with Game of Thrones because they passed the books, right? And season 5, season 6 was really good.
Yeah,
5 was a little weird, but it was still good.
Season 6 is a little tropey. I saw a little bit of it. It's like, you know what? It has the same issues as 8 with the tropiness. But you see it, but it's a tiny little trope.
But it's still enjoyable.
Yeah. But you still enjoy it because the moments make sense. But season 8,
because I mean, the Battle of Winterfell was awesome.
Yeah, love that one.
Season 7, but they were following. George R. R. Martin had outlines.
Yeah.
Of where he wanted to kind of.
So I don't necessarily have a problem with the ending, but I think they just didn't flush it out. It's like, Bran being king it makes sense. If it was in George R. R. Martin's book.
And if they'd given it more time. Like, if they'd given us more of...
building it up.
No, like, it's the
Bran was never supposed to be...
The same way, like, with her becoming, like, the Mad Queen.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense because the first 7 seasons, she only kills
She's the
bad
most graceful queen ever.
Unless you build it up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you take a whole season to get her slowly... That would have actually been really good. That's why I was like,
amazing.
Okay... That could work. Maybe George R. R. Martin did want that.
And I really wanted to see more of the Night King and to see, like, okay, obviously we got this great battle, but that was not enough. Because throughout all of the other seasons, you're getting these teases of the Night King.
You want to find out something.
You want it to be epic, and it wasn't epic.
They teased the whole time travel thing in season.
Yeah, the Hodor thing.
The Hodor,
what was that for then?
That's a whole time paradox.
Like, why show us that? Why put me through that heartbreak?
Dude, and the one thing, season 8, the biggest moment we've been waiting for season 8 is Jon telling his sisters of who he really is, They cut it. Yeah. They cut the scene. When I watched that, I was like, fuck this show. How do you cut? Like, I waited 10 years for this moment, and you just cut it in half.
Yeah, that's...
And he's supposed to be the king, and that doesn't matter.
Everybody's saying, oh, you should be king. You should be king. I don't want it. You should be king. Then when it's time to, like, nominate, like, a king, they're like, oh, nobody, Bran the Great.
Bran.
He comes back to life, takes back his homeland.
Yeah, he should have stayed dead.
For what?
Just stay dead.
For what?
For nothing. Only for nothing.
Why did he come back?
For nothing. Because he doesn't kill Night King.
Yeah, no, that was very...
It's too
by the way, you've gotten so many segments that you could possibly use for YouTube.
Dude,
Star Wars segment, Game of Thrones segment. I know you've probably already hit all of these topics, but you could just,
we talk about this all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
For Game of Thrones, we reviewed every single episode. Yeah. So it was actually kind of fun because like the episode happened, and we're doing it now with Mandalorian review. Let's talk about it. What do we think is gonna happen? We had so many theories
because my theory was they lose in episode 3. Yeah, they're gonna lose, and they have
it's an absolute like bloodbath.
Yeah,
they have to fall back.
Like fall back, and it's our final stand.
Yeah. And the stand would have been where? It would have been at the
King's Landing.
Yeah, King's Landing. That's what I wanted.
That would have been pretty dope.
Yeah.
Cersei.
We should write the final season because apparently these people have no idea what they were doing.
They clearly didn't, man. They clearly didn't. That's the sad part.
Like, cause I love that fantasy stuff. Yeah. I can't wait for it. It comes out in a few weeks. The Witcher.
The Witcher. Yeah.
Because The Witcher, I love the fantasy stuff. And I was really into the dragons and the Night King. That's really cool. And they, this could have been the best show ever, and they just did not want to finish it.
One thing you got to give credit to Game of Thrones. I mean, all the previous seasons are amazing.
Yeah.
But the ending is so important, you know? So that does leave you... But it changed the dynamic for TV shows now.
It did.
Now TV shows have to be movie quality level. That's
at least to be in that conversation.
Yeah, that happened to me with I don't know if you've seen Sons of Anarchy.
No.
Well, they made like a kind of like a sequel kind of, but it's a different group of Mayans, and I couldn't finish Mayans because it's such a low quality type show. I'm like, I can't watch it because I'm switched to Game of Thrones, Mr. Robot, and Breaking Bad, just high quality.
It's crazy because I mean I have this perspective from Hollywood films and Hollywood shows, and then I go back and I take it to like Bollywood stuff because I speak Hindi and I speak fluently. It's a lot of movies that I can't get through because of the graphics and the CGI. Like even though they do some, I think that it's like 900, 1,000 movies a year.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah.
But like they still are relying on CGI graphics that were from. There's this Indian movie called Drive, and it's
Drive. Which one is that?
I think we saw that one.
And the Netflix trailer. I saw the Netflix trailer for it. And literally, it's a heist movie, and they're doing heists in Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and stuff like that. And the cars are CGI.
Oh boy!
So the car chase scenes and all of that is CGI. I'm like,
I can't.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, I can't. I'm not even gonna give this a chance. Like, why did Netflix greenlight this?
No, but Bollywood, you have a good time though.
Oh, you do.
Bollywood,
but there's specific movies.
Yeah.
Like there'll be great, but like movies that don't pertain to action and stuff have like a nice. Most of them are musicals, and so it's nice to have like a you said, you have a great time. But then there's like action movies that just don't fit the like.
Yeah.
It's like those B movies, right? Yeah.
And then there's some really good ones. Like there's this one about like this surgical strike that they did. It was a military movie. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
What is it called?
It's called URI. URI. It's called the surgical strike.
Okay.
It's based on an attack that India did on the terrorists in Pakistan. And it was done like a Hollywood movie, and I'm like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like if they can put out more stuff like this,
like
the action scenes, like the movie, like the army scenes, looked amazing. And I'm like, but there's not enough of that coming. And now I'm happy to see, like, that was a recent movie. Happy to see more of those things.
Yeah.
On their horizon. It's dope.
Because now the standard is so different, raised, man. That's what's happening with TV shows now. Like Game of Thrones and all these other things. Shows now need to be at the same quality as movies, which is insane. It's great because now we're getting better shows, but it kind of hurts those older shows, you know? Like there's some shows that are like this happened to me with Daredevil. I don't know if you've seen Daredevil.
I haven't, but I heard it's good.
I love Daredevil. The first 2 seasons I loved it, but then Game of Thrones was out and like different shows I was watching that the quality was so good. Mr. Robot, one of them, Breaking Bad, and I was watching season 3 of Daredevil,
and you just lost interest.
I was like, man, this just feels too much like a show.
Yeah.
It feels like a generic show.
Yeah.
I know where it's going. Yeah. The quality, it's
Stranger Things is having that same issue too. Like season 3, it feels more like a TV show.
But the Stranger Things, another example. Like the first 2 seasons, they feel like those '80s movies, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm watching like a show like Daredevil or something. I'm like, oh, this feels like a show.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not that interested anymore. And so that's like what's going on. I think people don't really realize it, but next thing you know, there's some shows that people maybe liked before, but with this new standard, it's just like
people go back to it and they're like, okay.
Start brushing it off, and so it's crazy, man. How
much of like do you guys like shows like The Office and like Friends and stuff like that?
Of course.
Yeah.
I've seen The Office,
Friends. I'm into The Office.
Oh, nice, bro. Office is literally like, but to me, in the story, like the show ends this way. It's like there's beauty in the ordinary things, and even though yes, that's true, but I feel like now like we expect a certain level of quality now coming, unless it's a show like that, which is just based off of like ordinary stuff. Like I mean, those people, you build a relationship with those people, and those people like for however long the show was, they were ordinary people before that show that had been brought. They weren't like stars,
weren't big,
they weren't big. So it was like literally watching a regular Office go about. You know, it's awesome. Good. It's a beautiful show.
That ending.
That ending,
So
I just saw the wedding scene again, like the one where the forever, like Pam and Jim's wedding. Thought it was beautiful, like literally.
Man. There's that one line from the Nard Dog. The Nard Dog. What is he?
The why can't we know when the good times are, when we're in the good old days?
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you actually left them. That's amazing. That hit. I saw that. I was like, oh. Yeah. I was like, oh.
No,
so true. That's it. Damn. So it's like, you know, you have that. That's the most important thing with comedy. It's like, yes, comedy works better, or is it like drama comes in when there's good comedy? Like they kind of people think they're two different things, but they actually
can go hand in hand.
You know,
I think Marvel, especially recent Marvel, has done a great job of that. Like not necessarily Endgame, but I'm saying like in all of their movies, they instill these moments that keep it light.
Yeah.
Still, like regardless of whatever they make, they never get super dark. I think the reason why DC Studios failed in so many other movies, or they didn't draw that attention or that love for their films, and I'm not talking about the Joker, or the Dark Knight, or Batman Begins, and those, because those weren't technically DC Studio.
Yeah,
but like their Suicide Squad and stuff like that. Like it went too dark, didn't go enough.
Yeah, and the thing is, the darkness. Know how to balance it, like. Yeah, and the darkness wasn't really good.
Exactly.
So it's like, but like when you have the humor connects you more to the character. So then when the drama does come, it's
just you don't expect the humor in a movie like like for me, Thor Ragnarok, I didn't expect the humor, and all of a sudden I'm like, yo, I love this movie because it's so lighthearted, like it's funny, even though they're trying to you see the Hulk again, the Hulk and Thor have this funny exchange after the fight.
Love that.
Like, it's awesome. So like. I don't know. I feel like you're right. They both go hand in hand. So
and it works perfectly. I love The Office. Friends. It's amazing how relevant Friends is, and it's been
years old. Like the last episode ended like years ago, like a decade maybe plus ago. So
and it's still making a ton of money.
Crazy.
People fighting.
Both of those shows, I believe, are leaving Netflix in 2021. Yeah. So if anybody who's watching this has not seen either of those shows or wants to rewatch those shows, I'd say watch them. This next year is all we pretty much have before they go. And those streaming services, they're having ads. Like for The Office, it's going to be on an ad-based streaming service.
Yeah, because
everybody wants to have their own streaming service. Like
NBC. I'll tell you, Disney and Netflix are going to be at the top. I feel.
So Netflix needs The Witcher to be good because The Witcher has a lot writing on it because a lot of people actually want to see that show. Yeah. And because they make some shitty movies.
Yeah. And Netflix does, but those are the reasons why I feel like Netflix still survives, because I think Disney at the end of the day, they own pretty much everything. So the reason why they'll always be number one, and they have some really good shows. I was watching Imagineering. If you guys haven't seen
documentary series,
the documentary on like Walt, like how he built Disney,
amazing.
So like that's why Disney has that, bro. It has that nostalgia. Like I can go back and see Fantasia, stuff like that, like things from my childhood.
They have good documentaries now, like the Imagineering. Love it.
Only being more of those, like Mandalorian, stuff like that. Only more great stuff coming.
Are you a fan of the remakes they've been doing?
Which remakes?
All of Disney,
like the live action ones. Like some of them.
Like which one?
Not all of them. Like I think Lion King was decent. Could have been better. That's really the only, like, I didn't really like Tarzan.
I heard that one. Yeah, I heard that one's
I didn't
rough,
really like Tarzan.
looks dark.
Lion King to me, just because of like there was a lot of like nostalgia behind it. So like I felt like going into it. Obviously, you don't feel the same things you feel in the animated one, but I still felt like I could see it again. And I could see it again. Like but obviously, if I were to show my kid Lion King, it'd be the animated one.
Yeah. We saw the animated one right before.
Yeah. You probably went to go see the live one. Where like I didn't.
The visuals are amazing.
Yeah.
What they were able to do technically.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel the emotion.
I scored it pretty low. I was pretty hard.
It's very hard to feel the emotion in a real life movie because you just don't for whatever reason. It might be it might be a science to why we don't associate real things with what we felt with the animation.
Because they didn't make it. They've made it too realistic.
Yeah, they should make it
the lions when they were
look
talking.
Like lions.
Yeah,
like they will fuck you up.
So how are you gonna get emotion out of them? You got to make them a little cartoony, a little bit. Give them a smile when they talk. You know, why do we love the Lion King so much? The dancing and.
It seems like a good.
It's good to be. I mean, it's just like a regular lion
like with doing
no
that. That's not real.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like you kind of see the fakeness in something that's supposed to not be real.
Yeah.
But you kind of like you're automatically going like a lion would never do that.
It's like a National Geographic thing, but it's
and you're already like a lion would never do that in real life. Yeah. So like you're already like drawn back from it.
I think the only one I liked was Jungle Book.
You like Jungle Book?
Yeah.
I was a little like I didn't really like it that much, but you know.
Beauty and the Beast I was like really excited for.
Yeah. I didn't see that one.
Oh,
so I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because I saw the original.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this original is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
And I saw the live action. I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah. Aladdin, I felt the same way.
I did see Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was not that great.
No,
they lack. They just lack it.
Yeah, they just don't.
Just keep it as is. You know.
Yeah. Cartoons is just better.
Yeah.
Because you can show more like you can just show more.
Yeah.
Within it, like.
Yeah. It does its job in cartoon, I feel like, what it's intended to do. As kids, as we were growing up and we saw those films, we were drawn to them because we were kids.
Yeah, I mean, look at Will Smith. He looks scary in that movie.
Yeah, Will Smith was a little scarring watching him like that.
Yeah.
Will Smith
and Aladdin just wasn't, it just didn't hit the same way. Yeah. Just didn't hit the same way.
I was watching, I was like, wow, it's kind of like...
They had their own remixes of songs and stuff. I was like, okay. And then Will Smith had his thing where he wanted to be different than Robin Williams, and I respect that. And I really, I personally enjoyed his like banter with Aladdin, that more so than anything else in the film. Like the stuff for the moments of like him making us laugh, or when Aladdin was having that moment in front of the princess when he was a prince, and he's like messing up like the dialogue, and he's just sitting there like, yo, like you know, like, this is awkward. And I enjoyed those things, but at the end of the day, as like a whole, it wasn't something that I was like.
Yeah, it's just something that just meant to be cartoons. You know what I mean? Trying to see, oh my god, what's the character's name? I just forgot now. Will Smith's character in Aladdin.
Genie.
Genie, thank you. Yeah. The movements and the fast dynamic of the characters meant for a cartoon. Like, oh, look at this. Everything's like super.
Zoop.
Yeah, you know. But, you know, they're going to keep doing them. They're going to keep doing these remakes.
And I think they'll start to get better. Because I think the CGI will improve, and not that the CGI isn't at like the best level that it could possibly be at, but I'm saying like they'll find a way to make those issues like non-issues in a way. I feel like they'll eventually get to that point.
It's not a matter of CG, it's the matter of just like of the story and the way they're like telling it.
Yeah, it's lacking emotion.
There's no
bland and dry. Like it's just kind of like okay, whatever.
Because it's not the acting that's gonna draw you in. I feel like in those moments, it doesn't
have that magic of Disney. You know, it's weird.
Yeah. That's happening now already, and the movie's not even out with Mulan.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, so there's no music, so it's not a musical. That little character, the funny character, the dragonfly or whatever it is.
The dragon. It's a little dragon.
It's a little dragon. They not in the movie, so everybody's like, so you're
why would we go see that movie? Like, why would I didn't even know they took him out, but I knew that there wasn't going to be music. Why would I go see? She wasn't like a big part of the childhood nostalgia, like, you know.
I guess they're just trying to make it like the serious thing, so it's like people are not gonna
terrible.
Exactly.
No kid's gonna love that.
Exactly. So
it's a Disney action film where you can't show anything, so it's just gonna be like weird.
Yeah.
I love that they have a platform for their old stuff now, though. And, like the $7, and you can go to Disney Plus and see pretty much
Oh, I love it.
Boom.
I love how it says out of the vault because that's where they were. A lot of those movies you couldn't get them
what
anywhere.
Streaming service would you be able to find? Some of the older stuff. So now you have a place to go and you see literally everything Disney, and when it comes out, it'll be back on Disney. I think that's beautiful. That's why I feel like they'll always be number one because I feel Walt Disney and Disney as a whole will always be a part of a child's life.
Yeah, I mean,
like for lifetimes.
And they own everything. Yeah, dude, they got a lot. That's why
they really strategically placed themselves, like in terms of. They got Star Wars. They got Marvel. Name another big franchise they got Fox. Name another big franchise that they're missing.
Yeah, and the Pixar movies do great.
Yeah,
like they all do.
Hello,
Toy Story
made $1 billion, right?
I think 10 of Disney's films this year all hit $1 billion.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Almost all,
and they'll all be on that streaming platform.
Exactly, and they're doing shows.
And it's cheaper than every other streaming platform.
Yep. And
they'll be number one.
They got that bundle with Hulu and ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
I think Netflix needs to be careful though because I can see them easily going down.
Yeah.
If they don't like.
I think the thing that'll keep them afloat is their original content though.
If it needs to keep being good though, like Stranger Things, I think they got one season left.
They need to They need to keep putting out stuff like that that'll draw people in because, I mean, the movie we'll talk about later, The Irishman. That's a great movie, like, to me.
I think that's a good drawing for them. They're getting Oscar films, movies that other studios wouldn't get.
Yeah. Like Mudbound, that one got nominated.
Roma was another one.
Yeah.
So if they keep doing that, I think that'll help keep them
afloat.
And The Witcher. The Witcher is also that's their next show that could bring fans.
Yeah.
They need more of that because Stranger Things is ending.
Yeah.
I see it ending already soon. Because those kids are getting older. It's kind of getting awkward,
No longer strange anymore. You just older things.
Older things. That's it.
Because like season 3 was good, but it was kind of like, all right, it ended already.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of.
I feel that.
Yeah, so.
But it popped like when it came out.
Oh
it was
my god!
Yeah. Everybody's like Stranger Things.
But they gotta start.
Doing more of that.
They need to pump out some better stuff because if not, I can see them starting to go down a little bit. If their content is not good, like. A lot of the Netflix original stuff is not that good.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
If you look at the number of original stuff that they have versus what's actually hit, the percentage
exactly. So it's like, I think they're fine for now. I'm hoping like The Witcher show is good. The Irishman, I think for them is another big plus.
Yeah. I think, but I guess my hopefulness is like they'll continue to have those types of things, which is why I feel like they'll always be the number 2.
Yeah.
To Disney's number 1.
If they keep on that way, because that's kind of. Like
I don't see Amazon or Hulu. I mean, Hulu, I guess they're tied in with Disney, but I don't see Amazon. Yeah, it's really smart.
Yeah.
I don't think Amazon has, even though they have great content, because a lot of the movies that we talked about, they're on Prime.
Wait, actually, Netflix is gonna have 2 movies nominated for the Oscars: Irishman and That Marriage Story. The Marriage Story. It's like really good.
Really?
Yeah, with Adam Driver and Black Widow.
And I don't know if this is a Netflix show, but The Handmaid's Tale is doing pretty well for.
That's a Hulu one.
No, it's on Netflix, I believe.
Oh, it might be. It might be.
Oh, now it's a Netflix show?
I'm not sure. It sounds familiar.
Let me check. You might be right. It might be on Hulu. I just remember seeing it, and I remember somebody talking about it.
It's crazy how many streaming platforms we have now, right?
Yeah,
now we got Apple.
It's not on Hulu. You're right.
Because it's Apple, HBO Max now.
HBO Max, yeah.
HBO Max is what? How's it different from HBO Go?
I don't.
Yeah, and
I
the
guess
one thing I'm curious because
streaming.
if you have HBO, do you have to pay
more for HBO Max?
That wouldn't be fair.
I mean, because now I have HBO Go because I pay for
HBO.
And they have pretty much all the movies that they make. They have Ballers. That's how I saw.
They
Ballers.
have the shows and stuff. Yeah,
the shows and stuff. So I'm watching Sopranos right now.
Yeah.
And
Apple's trying to get up there.
Apple. I don't like.
To really give me,
unless they all of a sudden just go and buy literally all of the stuff that because they have iTunes and you can literally go and rent any movie you want, right? Yeah. So unless they somehow manage a way to like plug that into their streaming service, you're not really gonna get
like their content or like the stuff that they make because I think
that would really suck.
Steven Spielberg, I think. No.
Yeah. So what they're doing,
they should make their streaming service like free if you own Apple products. I
think if you're a student or something, you get it for free, something like that.
I think that's like with most of the services. I think also.
It's like half.
If you're a student, it's like
So the thing it's crazy with these streaming services. You have Apple, HBO Max, whatever it is, CBS.
All of these people are coming out with their own.
I feel like it's gonna hurt streaming services because now people are gonna just be. For example,
well, you know what's gonna happen, right? Like, and this is just the direction I see it going. Is there are gonna be cable companies, like traditional cable companies, that'll just be for streaming services.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you'll eventually get a package here for Disney, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. It'll be like, I don't know how much a cable service is, but let's say it's like $60, $70, $70 a month. You get all of those.
Yeah.
And I think people pay right now for cable somewhere in that range, if not more.
It's
they maybe pay $100.
Yeah. It's changing the game.
That will be literally the next way people go about
it's evolving.
Smart TVs are becoming more and more of a thing. People are not really like on my TV per se. We use Apple TV more so than we use that because I live in an Indian household. We have people that watch Indian shows and stuff, and we have this app called Sling. Okay. So I haven't been on cable in a while. And whenever I want to, I'm almost never watching like those shows, but Netflix is right there, and then I have like iTunes and stuff like that. So I'd rather just do that, or I'd AirPlay something from my phone on my TV. So I'm almost never using cable unless I'm watching sports.
Yeah.
So,
and that you look at Hulu and stuff. You got live TV. So it's changing.
Changing the way we and it's easy access. It's coming right here.
Yeah.
You no longer need a TV.
Yeah.
To really be entertained.
I'm just not a fan of so many different streaming services because, for example, Netflix.
It's too much.
Netflix, right? They had Office, they had Friends. People love that. Okay, I'm getting Netflix, but now CBS and NBC or whatever, they're like
taking their.
They're like, oh, we have The Office, so we're doing our own streaming service. Yeah. What other shows are we really gonna watch from
on
NBC?
CBS? Or NBC,
whatever channel. I don't even know what channel it is.
I don't
that
even
tells
know
you, you know.
Like, don't you mean like Law and Order?
Yeah, who's gonna want to pay for that?
Like,
you know,
Law and Order, that show needs to end. Like
people love The Office.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're still going.
And the Chicago PD.
Yeah, people love The Office, but who's gonna really pay for? Yeah, people love The Office, but who's really gonna pay an NBC?
Bro, I'll tell you, I wouldn't do it for the Office. Like on
exactly,
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for Friends. I love both of those shows.
And it just happens to be on Netflix, so it's like awesome.
And there's no ads, bro. Like, you know how annoying when I don't know, like sometimes when I was really I think it was The Walking Dead. I used to really enjoy The Walking Dead, and if you missed Sunday night's episode on TV, you had to see it on their website, and you'd go on their website, and then you had the ads like show will begin again in a minute and 30 seconds. I'm like, oh come on, bro.
That's annoying.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like, and streaming services have literally ruined that for us because they've literally given us for years no ads.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna go to ads. You're like,
yeah.
I don't want to see. You might watch 1 or 2 episodes before you're like, yo, I'm tired of waiting on ads.
It throws you off.
Yeah, it does. You off. Especially because you've gotten so used to it not being a TV,
just binging,
and you're just binging it.
Yeah.
You know, and plus I feel like
hopefully Netflix will always stay that way.
I think so.
You know,
but I feel like TV shows, I think they need to like start taking out commercials.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it ruins the flow of
a show.
Mr. Robot.
Because we've gotten used to watching shows.
No, and also, but like Game of Thrones too.
Yeah.
Because Game of Thrones, you watch it like you're watching
a straight hour, 40 minutes,
and you're in it the whole way.
Yeah.
But imagine like you're watching, let's say. Like,
you're losing that moment of you know, like they built it up. Now you're like.
Commercial.
You're on your phone. You might miss the beginning of the part that
because you don't know when it's coming
back. So
they're showing like a Viagra commercial.
Yeah, like
you go from oh my god my mom's dead to here's a Viagra commercial. Here's a Domino's commercial. Yeah, it's like
with symptoms that are more than your benefits.
Exactly, exactly. So that's the problem, man. You know. I think Apple TV, like the Apple streaming service, I think it'll come up eventually because
but not now.
It's crazy. It's great for people who are looking for work because now you have so many different sources.
For actors, it's insane.
Actors, directors, writers. The Apple streaming service, they offered J.J. Abrams like $600 million or something.
Oh, they got stupid money.
And he went
first $1 trillion company in the world. They got stupid.
He went to Warner Brothers, so now he's gonna be helping with HBO Max, and he got paid. 500 million contract. Wow. You know, but
you saw the value in that over an Apple streaming
because with Apple, it's only for them. Warner Brothers, they said that you can work with Paramount because he's always Star Trek, so Paramount you can do your other stuff, but you're with us. Yeah. But with Apple, they were like, no, only in our our content. So he doesn't like that because you're restricted now.
That won't work for long for Apple.
Yeah,
like,
they
Apple
did get some good directors though. They got I think M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that's huge.
They got Alfonso Cuarón. who did Roma, Children of Men. He's done some good ones.
The cool thing about the age we live in, I guess now, is the fact that it's so like somebody can make a movie in China and put it on Apple, and it's literally accessible to the world.
Anyone.
And you're now a famous director that lives in China. You don't even like Hollywood as a whole is kind of becoming.
It doesn't even have to hit.
It doesn't have to be L.A.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Hollywood, the sign. You could literally, and if Miami ever fixes their taxes with films, Miami could easily become a next Atlanta, where people are now doing Marvel films and other films, and Tyler Perry has the biggest studio ever.
Yeah.
You know, it could literally be something like that, where this could be a new hub for creators.
And everybody loves Miami.
Everybody loves Miami. It's Will Smith's favorite spot.
Yeah.
So.
And all the pornos were filmed here.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, man. You know, it's crazy though. Like you can get contracts like that now with streaming services, and it's true. Like what you were saying, you can make a little movie and Netflix picks it up.
Yeah.
If that movie is a hit on Netflix, you get yourself a look at Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Those guys were trying to get a movie off the ground for a while. They did a little movie, it didn't really work out, and they got this deal with Stranger Things on Netflix.
Yeah.
No, because
they're millionaires now. That's it. They're set.
Was supposed to be a movie.
Yeah.
But everyone said no because it thought it was too much like a Super 8.
Yeah.
So no one didn't take it. So they changed to a show that Netflix, like took them in.
Yeah, Super 8 sucked.
I like
Really?
Super 8.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it.
Super 8.
You didn't like it?
It could have also been because I saw that after 3. This is when you had to get a ticket to see and you didn't have like reserved seats. So I went and saw 3 movies, and that was the 3rd movie I saw that day. And I was, I was burnt. But so I don't have a fair basis judgment of that movie. I honestly don't even remember what Super 8 was about. But
the little kid, that's J.J. Abrams' film, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, J.J. Abrams.
Might have to revisit it someday. But
I liked it. It's a lot of very, callback to E.T., Jurassic Park,
It's the one with the big spider, right? Is that the one?
Oh, are you talking about Cloverfield?
No.
No, right?
No.
Are you talking about Super 8 then?
I think so, Super 8.
The young kids, they make movies.
Yeah.
The aliens.
I might be thinking about something else, to be honest.
You said Big Spider, I thought of Cloverfield.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on. But maybe I'll look into Super 8 and see. It might be something different.
It was on Netflix for a while, but I think it's gone now.
Okay.
I think it's gone.
Yeah, that's the thing I hate about Netflix. They take all the good movies.
Oh, there's been so many moments where I've seen a movie that they've shown like in the list, and then I'm like, you know what? I really would want to see that movie one day, and then
you add
it passes. Time passes. I'm like, I really like somebody mentions that movie, and you're like, yo, Netflix has it. I'm gonna go check it out. Boom, not there.
That's happened so many times. Not there.
I'm like, yo.
I hate that. It's on
that
your
happened
list.
to me with Mean Streets on Netflix a bunch of times. I was like, I want to go see it. It's back right now. It's on right now. And I was like, I want to go see it. Went to go see it. Wasn't there. I'm like,
that's one of Scorsese's first films, I believe. Yeah.
They happened to us with Only God Forgives, that Clint Eastwood one.
No, Unforgiven. We're still trying to see it.
Yeah, we still haven't seen it. But
you know how there's just movies that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it, and then.
Yeah, it's like us with that
Imitation Game or something.
Whatever,
yeah. There's some movies that you like, I gotta check it out, but then
it doesn't really interest me.
There's just so many things, man. There's so many things. But I mean, I said this like 30 minutes ago, but let's get into Irishman.
Yeah, no, I.
Wow, we're gonna hit 2 hours. So we hit an hour.
We're hitting movie times right now.
So we hit an hour, and then at the hour we're like, let's talk Irishman, and then we talk about Game of Thrones, and now we hit another hour.
Wow.
All right.
You said don't get me started on Irishman. I mean, the Game of Thrones.
And then
it happened.
Yeah.
So no, let's actually get into Irishman this time. It'll be fine because
you could literally break all of these down into different videos.
Exactly. For audio, I'm gonna put it all in one. I'm gonna put like the time codes on what like when the review is, and then everything else is just conversation. Because this is the format I go for anyway.
Okay.
But definitely for like YouTube, I'm gonna break it down so that people who just want to see the review, they watch the review. Anyway, Irishman. I feel like we talked so much about everything else. So, yeah, how do we start? So
it's such a long movie. Like,
very expensive film for a non-blockbuster action. It's it's not that type of film. Like 200 million, we'll give or take around there. A lot
big
of
number.
Yeah, big and most of that, and I think you can tell while watching the movie, most of that went into the de-aging technology, which they de-aged. I mean, Robert De Niro,
Pesci.
Al Pacino.
It wasn't even at points de-aging. It was forward aging also. Like Pesci when he was at the end, like before, you know, he says the famous line, he went to church and,
yeah,
you know, he never came back because he died. Was what they were insinuating. He went to the hospital and never came back. But like they had aged him to look very, very old.
Yeah. No, it's
they hit decades in that movie.
Yeah. Like so with that alone, what we'll do is we'll do like a non-spoiler then spoiler section.
Oh,
just in
shit.
case.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Pesci's still living.
He's still living. Yeah, whatever. But, you know, the one thing I got to say that's impressive, that technology, there are sometimes I was like, okay, I can tell. But most of the time, I was like confused because I wasn't sure if it was de-aged or not.
Yeah.
Which, that's a good thing. Any animator, anything of that technology, when people don't notice it, that's when you know you did your job right. And I think they did that really well. I think
if it wasn't a like thing that disturbed your movie experience.
Which it can. It can very easily.
Which it can. And so I feel like that was a plus.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of the aging.
But this is like $200 million invested into just that. Yeah. And you can, but that's expensive.
It's expensive.
So I can understand why maybe some big studios were like, I don't want to take this gamble. It's too expensive.
Also, like I feel like most studios probably felt like these guys were past their prime.
Yeah, and I want to get into that because the de-aging is great.
Yeah.
I love all these actors.
Yeah. If you're going to bring up the scene I'm thinking about. Let's see. Because it was literally like the worst scene that they could have possibly put into the movie.
Okay, so I think we're so the de-aging. The de-aging is amazing, but one thing that you can fake is the physicality of the actors.
We're getting there.
Of the actors, and that's one thing in this movie. Moments. I'm not gonna say the whole thing. There's a certain scene. Robert De Niro is beating up a deli.
Oh, on the money.
Yeah, and
it's like writing a long essay paper and submitting it and then looking back on it and seeing that one typo that will probably like they could have went back and revisited it and they might have missed it, but it was one of those scenes that just blatantly looked off. To me, it was one of the only moments that looked extremely off.
It was like kind of awkward.
It was very awkward to where when I saw it in theaters, people in the theater were laughing for minutes after the scene.
Really?
Like, because people were like, oh, man.
We saw it at home, so we were kind of laughing amongst ourselves.
Yeah, but you could easily pause it and laugh. And but people have missed the moments that came afterwards because of that one scene was atrocious. Like, and to me, I remember seeing it. And to me, I love the film. That was my basis of, like, the review of the movie. But that one scene is very, like, it's an eyesore. You see it and you sort of can't let it go.
And the other reviews that we've seen, everybody has said the same thing. Because... that's the thing. The de-aging technology is great, but this is one thing. I feel like these actors are old. Yeah. They do great, though. Yeah. They really do for what they have to do and everything. But
I think they did a great job of showing so much less physicality. Like, the one scene that they did was where they messed up.
Yeah. You know? I love how Robert De Niro is wearing a lot of long sleeves. You know, they got to... And when he isn't, it's like...
You can notice.
They put money on his skin and everything.
Money on that,
But... that one scene is just a prime example of why I think I don't have a problem with the de-aging, but you can't do it for everything.
Yeah.
You look at Godfather 2 or something like that. You know, imagine Marlon Brando being de-aged.
No.
You have Robert De Niro playing, and you get a great... The movie's amazing. You know, it's a classic.
So let me ask you, would you feel like had they done that instead of de-aging these guys, would it have had the same effect?
Well, it depends on who you get as the actor.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think for this movie, I understand why Scorsese did it. I
think he's a genius, by the way.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. And I think a part of him didn't want to accept that fact of like the lack of physicality. You look at Prime De Niro. And just like the tough guy, and it's just
energy
perfect.
is just different.
Exactly, and I think Scorsese. I don't know his character. Maybe as like a filmmaker, he's like, this is the way I want to shoot this because that's how I love shooting. You know, he likes those steady shots and just showing the brutality or something. But I feel like he didn't realize like these guys are older now.
Yeah.
You know, because that one scene, I understand what he was shooting. I thought it was working well for me, like when he breaks him through the glass and everything.
Everything was perfect.
But when he started taking him outside, I was like,
he kicked him. They had that first kick, but the biggest thing that gets me is the hesitation before the kick. It's like he's literally shaking.
He's wearing like boots.
Yeah.
Because he's short, so he was wearing like boots to make him look taller.
Yeah.
So maybe that had some weight.
Maybe, bro. It just did not like they should have made like if Scorsese saw that while he was filming it and was like, all right, we're good. Like we need to have like a little bit of a conversation, or they needed to fix it in post.
I feel like it's a old school side of him that doesn't want to accept it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that. This is the way I want to shoot it.
I feel like, and that plays into like the gunshots and the gun blood and like the like you can easily get and I read somebody like the gunshots weren't believable because when the blood splattered it, but to me when I saw the blood splatter it reminded me of the old time movies like how they used to do blood back then, like Taxi Driver, stuff like that, like where it didn't look realistic, and I think that's where he was trying to go with like his gunshots, or like that one scene where De Niro's shooting the two army guys into their grave where it just splatters, and you're like, that's not really how like most modern action films capture gun violence, but I feel like he went for the old touch and did that on purpose. You know,
part of me thinks it's maybe that, and also I think a lot of their budget went straight for de-aging. I feel like they didn't even want to worry about.
I feel that
because the main thing
a good point.
That's gonna sell the movie is you got to believe that that's them when they're younger.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that, you're not gonna believe a gunshot. Yeah. There's just no way. So I do think that might also be a part of it, that they're like, look, there's not that many of that much violence in that sense. Let's just put it all in this. You know. Yeah. But that point of the physicality, that's one thing with the de-aging technology. I'm like,
that's a big point. You
know, because Captain Marvel has that issue too with Samuel Jackson. He looks great, but when he starts running, it's like that looks like an old man run. Yeah. So, and for a movie like this, if you're gonna have scenes like that, sometimes
I think they did a great job of limiting it to pretty much like really you didn't have many physical scenes.
If that was a consistent issue,
like
then
it was like key moments. Like in the film that made sense. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's just that one scene notice.
I started laughing.
You see the old man body.
Yeah, it throws you off.
That one scene throws you off.
It was the kick.
That scene kind of took me out of the world a little bit.
Yeah, because you're enjoying the movie. You're there. You're now enjoying Frank Sheeran's portrayal of like this piece of history that he's raved about in this book.
Yeah,
I Heard You Paint Houses, and you're enjoying it all the way up until that moment. You see that and you're like, this is a movie.
Yeah,
all of a sudden
like,
you're
that's old Robert De Niro.
That's old Robert De Niro being de-aged, and it doesn't look real.
And it's kind of comical,
and it looks awkward. And
it's just that kick. It's like an old man.
If you feel it awkward in the movie and you feel awkward while watching it, it changes your experience of the whole movie.
Yeah, and the way he's kicking too, like he's kicking like with his hand.
And then he's like
it's an old man. It's like an old man.
Very rough.
And the guy's yelling like if he's in terrible pain.
Yeah. And the sound effects of the kick, it was loud.
It wasn't matching with his kicks.
It wasn't matching because
that was an awkward scene. I think about it now, and I remember him just being like.
Yeah,
there was no power, but then like the sound effects were like and the guy's like and I know.
And even the guy shaking did a terrible job of like when the kicks landed, he did not move.
He didn't feel anything.
Because it's hard because you don't know.
Do I move extra?
What do you do? Yeah.
Do I overact it because he's not really?
Because there was this one kick to like that was supposed to be the head that the guy's head didn't move. Like and Robert De Niro moved his kick and Well, the hand, I kind of believed it because at the end you see his foot firmly planted on his hand. But it was like.
And the amount of pain that the guy was yelling in, but the power of the kicks. Yeah. It was literally like, and the guy's like, I get what he's going for because you watch his older stuff, and you like with those brutal scenes, you feel it. But here I was like, oh man,
it just wasn't there, bro. It just wasn't
there. It was working better when it was only showing it like
close up
like in the inside. Yeah. Like when he goes inside, he starts beating the guy. I think it should have stayed. I think it should have ended when he throws him through the glass.
Yeah.
Ended there.
Maybe keep it him throwing him around inside where you can get away with it. Throw him out the window. Maybe throwing something at him and walking out. That's it.
Or even getting like a body double. Trying to like shoot a
just for that moment, like they could CGI that, like kind of right, like they could
they could put his
face on like or a younger body for that brief. They didn't have to make it as long as the scene was. I think what killed them was the scene was like
too long.
12 seconds.
I was like, oh man,
and you're literally watching that whole thing go down. Like they could have made it like 5 seconds and it'd been a younger guy CGI with De Niro's face.
And that's
it was possible. Like a faraway shot, so it wasn't like you need extra detail on the face.
Side.
kicking him. The guy who's actually on the floor is doing a good job of taking the hits. Yeah. It didn't look like he was taking the hit. And believable. Would have done that one scene justice, because that scene could potentially take a whole person and be like, I don't want to see the rest of this film.
Yeah, or I don't believe it. I don't believe him as a tough guy.
I don't believe
it. It's on old De Niro. Look at him. He came and kicked.
I don't believe it. Yeah.
That's a big issue. He has like that old man body too.
Yeah.
His walk, like
but I think why I'm trying to think of as this old school director, and I think the reason why he probably didn't do that is that he wants all the credit to go to these actors. The second,
and he said that I've watched a lot of the post interviews of Scorsese and them talk about specific moments in the film. Nobody actually specifically talks about that moment. Maybe weeks or months down the line when they're not promoting the movie as much, they'll get to that question. I'm sure he knows it.
He must.
And yeah, because if everybody is telling that, I'm just shocked that it went through test screenings and nobody brought that up.
Years of
how does that happen?
Maybe they just didn't want to reshoot it.
Or they didn't want to tell Scorsese. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Scorsese.
Exactly. Hey, he's kind of... Because they're all... him and De Niro. And him accepting the fact that De Niro's that old, maybe it's maybe I'm...
Well, which plays into the whole theme of the movie is really based on mortality. It's how... it was based on... Not getting into the ending too much, but it basically goes through a mobster's life, yes, but also a person's life.
Yeah.
And you sort of see the delicacy of life. In general.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the stage where all four of them are at.
Yeah.
Pesci, Al Pacino, Scorsese.
I love that aspect of it, though. It does feel like
But that's the beauty of the movie.
Yeah.
The movie as a whole, to me, felt beautiful because of the way it did those things. But going back to, the interview, Scorsese was I really did not think anybody else could portray, De Niro and they would have portrayed.
Yeah.
That, nobody would have done the acting job that they would do with the de-aging effect. So.
Yeah, and even if because if it was a double, then they have to be oh, that wasn't De Niro, and then people start questioning his acting. Yeah. How much is it to him?
Yeah.
And then being old school is no, this is all us.
It was also a homage to old mob films and those guys as old mob.
It feels
guys.
Like their last hurrah. Yes. It's all these classic, iconic actors back. I feel for me, I think one last time.
Yeah.
This is it.
I don't see him doing a. You can't do an Irishman too.
Or any other mob movie.
Or any other modern mob movie, yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, and they're old, man. They're old.
They are.
I love that aspect. It's this is their one last, with Scorsese, and it's just that last.
It was perfect because Scorsese, this is what he loves. Mm-hmm. I was reading up on his biography, when Irishman was first announced, and he literally grew up in that Italian New York life. He probably saw it, maybe saw it secondhand, or he experienced it in some way, picked it up, the culture. That's what the vibe of New York was, where he was born and raised, and he put it into his movies. Exactly. And I find that beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you love this movie.
I love the movie.
That one scene.
Aside from that one scene.
We talked about that one scene for a while, because it is pretty,
No, but as long as we've talked about it, is probably as long as it sticks with you. Because afterwards, the whole movie, I was yo, the movie was amazing, but that one scene
takes you away a little bit.
Takes you away, from you being okay, this might be a full 10 out of 10 film for me.
Yeah.
That one scene is okay, now it's a 9 out of 10 because it seems sloppy. It seems like they forgot.
Yeah.
Or an aspect that they could have fixed, or it was like I said, it was a typo in a big ass essay that you had to write. And it ruins the whole thing.
I think it's such a big movie, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And mind you, it's 3.5 hours final cut.
Yeah.
It could be even longer. So I feel them just going through editing it. There's probably some things that they're just keep going.
Let it be.
Yeah. So that's where things could get sloppy when you have a big movie like this. It's a 3.5 hour movie.
Which somebody online made by the way, if you don't want to watch all 3.5 hours of it, somebody online on Twitter made a mini-series guide to watching The Irishman.
Yeah.
Broke it in 4 segments.
Crazy how people are so used to shows, right?
Yeah.
That they're
Yeah. But I feel like kind of just suck it up and watch the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
think of it okay, Endgame is 3 hours, you can hang on for 30 more minutes.
Suck it up, watch 3.5 hour movie. If you're not into it, then do it. Break it down. It's literally on Netflix.
Yeah, you can watch it at your own time.
Watch it if you want to watch it for 40 minutes while you're eating lunch one day and then 20 minutes on a coffee break the next day, or break it however you want to. Obviously, that's not how I would recommend watching it.
No.
But if that's what works for you, watch it and then get your full experience from that way.
No, definitely. I really enjoyed this movie. The one thing besides that, I think the de-aging made sense for this movie because it does kind of show you this progress of this whole guy's life. Yeah. I don't know, and again, this could just be me watching it at home. Yeah. With disruptions, I had to pause a few times, come back, boom. I felt the pacing for maybe the first half of the movie, I felt was a little, I don't know. I was never bored in this movie. That's one thing. It's a long movie. I was never bored. But the pacing, I felt there was a lot going on. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like...
They rushed past it, do you feel? Or do you feel like they were going too slow through it?
No, not too slow. Maybe some key moments, but I like the slowness. Yeah. It's like what they were saying. I like when the movie
it's like a real like gangster epic. Yeah. Like
and when the movies show their characters just thinking for a second. And like that you
silence.
Love that. I love that. But there were some points in the pacing, maybe the first half, and it could be me because I didn't see it in a theater. Right. Because watching a movie in a theater and at home, two completely.
Oh, by the way, I missed so when it came on Netflix, I finally saw it, but I missed the beginning. I think 10 minutes because we pulled up a little late, and I picked North Miami Beach, so we misjudged our leaving time, and by the time we got there,
traffic.
We missed it, and I thought we only missed a couple minutes, but when I went back on Netflix and saw it. It turned out to be a little bit longer than a couple minutes. I was like, shit. So, but I didn't really lose much. But, to your point.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. One thing before I get into this, that last hour of this movie, it's like, that's when I was like, wow. But the first half, I was like, because I'm not familiar with this story at all. I don't know if you are with the Jimmy Hoffa.
The only reason I was, because... When I found out The Irishman was coming, I wanted to know why it was coming. And I found out that it was because of this book. I heard you paint houses. Then I heard it. Then I read into the history of the book. Okay. It was basically on how Jimmy Hoffa died, the fact that in real life, and the movie gives an answer, but in real life, nobody really knows what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. The body was never found. People had these big speculations of he was buried underneath Giant Stadium. He was, swimming with the fishes, as that famous line goes. He was like... a lot of gangsters that are living have given different answers as to what's happened to Jimmy Hoffa. So this hype of what happened is kind of what this movie is running off.
It tackles that.
Is this guy's version of the story and him giving details that one would not expect someone to just make up.
Yeah.
And so whether a person can believe it or not, they go into a lot of things. They go into the fact that John F. Kennedy was involved with the mob, or had
the mob had him.
The mob had influenced.
Love that. Very subtle, but
very subtle. But that was, and that's a very reoccurring theme. If you hear any of if you watch any of the gangster interviews, there's this one guy, Michael Francese. He has a lot of interviews on YouTube. He talks about heavy influence of JFK, the mob's influence on JFK, and how they might have been the reason why.
Yeah,
he was killed.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy.
There was a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm not saying one thing is true or one thing is right, but I'm saying if you believe this story for the truth that, if you believe the movie's truth being the book, then it's beautiful. Because if you I didn't personally finish the book, but if you believe the story for what it is and just associate it with the movie, not necessarily
the facts,
if it's factual or not, it's a beautiful movie.
Yeah,
the story of going through,
It really is. By the ending, I did feel man, and it's it makes you appreciate the runtime. Now I see why, because it wants to take its time for that moment. Yeah. But the first half, I would say the pacing when his story's picking up. There's a lot of cutting between time periods. I wish there was a distinction to let me know.
Notified that you're going back or you're going forward.
Because I was like, okay, where are we at? Okay, well, now we're back on the road. Then I was like, okay, hold on, you're losing me a little bit.
That still threw me off. I'm in the process of rewatching it. I just put it on before our interview, just to get a little bit of a flashback of what the movie was and stuff like that. So I was watching it. There were the moments in the driving, which when I watched it in theaters, I didn't realize that they were different times. So when I saw it again, I'm like, no, these are distinctly different times, and I didn't pick up on that in the movie theater.
Exactly.
Or my first watch.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I was trying to keep up. Yeah. I was like, they're on the road, right? Yeah. And then they're in a different time period. How they met. So I was like, but there was points where it was a quick cut back, a flashback, oh, we met here, and it's a quick scene. Yeah. Then they're back on the road. Yeah. But then there's times that quick callback leads to another quick scene callback, of that callback, and then that callback leads to 2/3 of the movie, and then we're back here. Boom. So I was like, whoa. Yeah, so it kind of lost me a little bit, and then when the Jimmy Hoffa stuff started coming in, and all that drama in the second half starts coming in, and what's happening with him, because the movie really starts going into that.
Oh yeah,
great.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was like that. When he's a truck driver, what he does as
a truck and stuff. Yeah,
and then how he just starts
finessing.
Like and it was kind of happening quick, but then it was cutting back and cutting forward. I was like. So that threw me off a little bit.
It's true.
So that happened with me maybe.
No, I get you. I get what you mean by pacing now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A good chunk that I was like, I felt a little lost. I was like, but I was, I pulled through because I let the movie finish, and if there's something I'm like, I go back. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was a little thrown off. I go back. Let me watch it again.
Yeah.
So I do think I need to watch it again for sure.
Yeah.
It's just a long movie, so it's like I gotta get the time.
You gotta really take the time out and see it. Yeah.
So that's one thing. You had the same issue, right? Because I remember when we talked about a little bit after.
I was lost the first half.
Yeah.
I was kind of I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I felt a little confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when what's his name, Hoffa, comes in, I'm piecing it. Look okay. Then the last hour, I get everything.
Yeah, when the movie ends.
Yeah. Okay. Now I get it because it took me some time. The first half, I was like, man, I'm kind of is it just me? Is it because I'm too stupid to understand this?
Yeah.
Or is just
it's a lot of things happening.
A lot of things going on, yeah.
But then, I think it's that you don't know what time period you're on.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Because I was zoned in. So
the crazy thing is I didn't even notice that there were different time periods, and that's something that you guys caught on to, and maybe that could have been. I remember going to the movie theater that day, and I had woken up really early, and I was a little tired, so I might not have come to my realization because I wasn't full attention on that movie, which happens. It's a 3.5 hour movie. You're gonna get tired, and some people might even doze off because it's a classic mafia movie. Most mafia movies they have slow moments, not necessarily boring moments, but they have moments that are
takes its time. Takes its time, and that is one of my main issues. Just because I pulled through, I was still watching. And then it starts picking up. There's some good scenes. Now, this is nitpicky, but what we were talking about, the gun effects and those effects, it's a little. It takes you away a little bit. Okay. Kind of like the scene we talked about with the deli. Yeah. Not as bad as that, but you can tell the recoil on the gun is them doing it, or that's no big deal. Because me right away, I was like, that's probably their budget is going towards.
The de-aging.
And I get it, because the de-aging was That was the one thing that I was like, please work, because if not, this movie won't work.
Doesn't work.
Exactly. So, but that worked, and that's actually a compliment if I was kind of not sure what time period we were on, because I feel like the de-aging represents the time period.
Time period, yeah.
But it was just kind of so well done that you're like, man, what age of De Niro am I in? So maybe a year mark, of letting us know this time period, or a lot of movies too, they change their style when it's a certain time. If there's a flashback.
Yeah, the color either changes or fades or something. Yeah, no.
Because that was one thing that's one of my main issues.
And that's a pretty big thing in a movie like this, where you're going through different time periods. So.
Exactly, because the opening scene, it worked fine. He's like, oh yeah, this is where I met, and he mentions Joe Pesci's character. Yeah. We get back to that, it's him being a truck driver. He helps him fix the truck and all that. And then the movie kept going from there. So I was like, oh, shit. Okay, let me focus. Yeah. But then it would jump ahead.
And then sometimes go back.
And then go back. So I was like, oh, man, you got to, let
a bunch of those, the deli scene was, a flashback. And then, that scene of him driving him and the wife. That's, it goes forward. And then, those things you don't,
You got to let us know. But especially when there's a lot of things to jump back on.
He's meeting, different members of the mob, and he's getting involved.
And then the story goes with this.
Oh, I thought I was stepping on your shoe.
And then the story goes one way. So you're like, wait, but I was kind of lost with this. You're following this, and then it leads to something else. And you think it's just another flashback, but it's not. The movie's going from there. So the pacing, at least for first half or so, I think was for me a little off-putting. Yeah. Now that last second half, I was what's going on. Yeah. There's not as many back and forth. I think they just have to set up the story.
Yeah.
Set up the relationships, how he got there. Yeah. But when it gets to that second half, I think it
De Niro did a
full force. I love the award ceremony scene, and everybody's just kind of like looking at each other. That's like the scene where
the hit is the hit happens.
That lasts, there's a 20-minute sequence. It's silence, no music, and it's just, I want to sit back here. No, I want to sit, it's like you get that, like, how they don't trust each other.
There's the and especially, I don't know how much, like, how big fans are you guys of, like, mob movies?
Oh,
like,
man, I've seen Scorsese's movies, and,
Like, that little conflict is, like, basically to show, like, if you were ever, like, like, there's certain things in mob movies, like, if you're sitting passenger to the driver and somebody's sitting behind you, you want to make sure that you know where that person is.
If you're not, like, a mob movie guy, you won't get it.
You
like,
won't get
what's
it.
the big deal?
But, like, the back and forth, the banter, like, those things, like, like you said, I don't want to sit in front. No, I want to sit, like, those things
great scene. That was a great scene.
Because him sitting in the front could be the difference of him also being cut and Hoff also being cut.
Yeah.
It's like that, like...
Love it. That was a great scene. But I love the movie. I got to rewatch it. I definitely got to rewatch it. I really enjoyed it. That issue is what threw me off. And then, the second half and the ending and everything, I was like, damn, because you had the same issue, right? Like the pacing a little bit, but it picked up for you like in the second half.
Yeah, the second half it picked up a lot because that first half I was like kind of confused a little bit.
Like, where are we? What's going on?
Yeah, because he's a truck driver, and then shit, he's in, and then
shit. I don't know anything about the story. So
exactly, I feel like that hinders for a lot of people. Like, if you don't know like the history of it, which I mean, they probably should have done a better job of marketing that more so than the movie, because they did an amazing job marketing the movie.
Yeah.
But had they marketed like the history fact that like nobody really knew.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's, because I want my dad to watch. My dad loves mob movies, but like if he goes into watching it, I'm kind of scared that he might not get the gist of what the movie is doing or he might know it better than me because he's been through that time period. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's like one of those things where if you don't know the history of it, like, would you really be that interested in finding out?
That's the thing, because I don't know the history of it, so it's like maybe should I have done my research before watching this, because I felt like a little lost, like, who's this guy? And like when he was like getting arrested and stuff, like certain characters, I was like, okay, for what? Let me like, and the movie would mention it briefly, so I was like, okay, I caught that. Okay, I'm in. Because there was times I was like, why? Who is this person? What exactly?
But how do they play?
Exactly. So, but if you know the history, you're like, oh, this guy, he's a fraud.
I mean, even I don't know like the history of like all of those people. But for me, like, I was just so drawn in by the fact of, like, Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance. I watched, like, a bunch of interviews of, like, different people talking about it. And so that piqued my interest. And then I intended on finishing the book before Irishman. Before I went to go see it, never happened. Usually happens with me in books. Like, I get so caught up in just watching stuff that I'd rather do that than... I'd rather watch the book summary than read... I
struggle with that too. I have a book, and it takes me a while.
I've read books I used to do like a book a week, like on personal development, psychology, and stuff like that. Like books back in like 2-3 years ago. I don't know how I used to do it. I used to finish them in a week, but like it used to be draining because I'd rather just watch something.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a watching type of a person. I'm sure you guys can relate. Like
I struggle with that too. I have a book, and it takes me forever because it's
I have a book. I still haven't finished that shit. That's what I'm saying. I still haven't. I'm almost done with it.
Yeah.
But it's. So I'm not the only one because I struggle with that too. And it's not like I don't like the book or anything. It's just like
it's just hard to take the time out to do that because you'd much rather be
watching a movie, even documentaries.
Watching a 15-minute video on YouTube on something would be much more interesting.
Yeah.
For me, or would be much more captivating for me than figuring out how to, even if I might love the book.
Yeah.
Like for that book, like I loved what I was reading, but every time I found myself distracted or back on my laptop, back on my phone, watching something on YouTube. So
yeah, that's the thing. I definitely think maybe I should have been more informed about what I didn't really know what this movie's about. Yeah. I didn't know anything about the history.
It's just the Irishman. Like, who's the Irishman? Who is that guy?
So mobsters or something. I was like, okay, I'm in.
That's the only reason why what really captivated me in the beginning was it was a mob film.
Yeah.
It was like a mafia movie. Did I expect... I might have expected more of a Goodfellas, Godfather type of vibe, and this movie was not that.
It's very different.
It was not the flashiness of the mob in this movie. It was more so the mortality of that life. Like, and it went through Robert De Niro's emotions of every stage as it progressed.
Yeah, it's like the relationships and
all of that.
And I mean, when it leads to that ending, it hits you. You know, it's like the way it is, you know. So it's more about that.
It's the way it is. It's what it is.
It's what it is.
It's what it is.
And I love how subtle they are with their things, you know. It's like that's what they say. Now some people might not get it. They're like, what do they mean?
Yeah, but a lot of times like they're giving hints in the dialogue that you like. Basically, the movie is based on this book called I Heard You Paint Houses. Now, you might not even know what I Heard You Paint Houses means. What it means is when somebody shoots you, the blood paints the house. That's what I Heard You Paint Houses. And then Robert De Niro, if you remember in that scene where he's on the call, he's like, I heard you paint houses. Yes, sir, and I do my own carpentry. That means I get rid of the body.
Yeah, you see.
Carpentry, I put them in, I put them in a coffin. I get rid of I do my own carpentry.
That's interesting.
Type thing.
Yeah.
So that is easily like in the mob is big like on speaking in slang, because a lot of the times in mob life they were either tapped, like their phones were tapped, so the way they had to have conversations was very discreet and in ways that
I feel like that makes so much sense too, because anytime you see someone getting their head blown off, where does the blood go? If it's in a house, on the wall.
I Heard You Paint Houses is basically, are you a hitman? I heard you're a hitman.
I like that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
But that's something that I got from the book. Like I Heard You Paint Houses. That's the first page is like, what does this book mean? I heard you paint houses. This is what it means. Carpentry means you do your own cleanup.
Yeah.
At the end of it, and like he sleeps with the fishes. That means the guy was killed and dumped in an ocean.
That's interesting.
And certain back and forths that they have in the movie that's not easily catchable is like when Joe Pesci and him and De Niro are talking, they might say some things that he's saying right there, like or not even that specific scene. I can think of the Henry Keitel scene, the one where he's Angelo Bruno, he's the big mob boss. Now is not the time to not say, means, if you're not going to say right now, you're going to get taken care of.
Yeah.
Or another part of that same part where he's like, you don't know how good of a friend he is. Basically means he pulled favors to make sure we didn't kill you.
Yeah.
You don't know how good of a friend he is.
Yeah.
Like, they speak in that type of tone that's like intimidating. That's what they're trying to do. They're delivering a message by not saying that.
That's when it's good writing, right? When they don't have to be on the nose. They don't have to be like, hey, I'll
Yeah.
It's like
that's why I saw like other kids and like people who are not film buffs review The Irishman or tweet about it, and it wasn't the most informed review. Like it's just the movie's like, really long or it's boring.
Exactly.
And it's like, but you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Where the movie comes from, or you don't understand that.
That's a big issue what's going on with Scorsese that he's saying about Marvel movies, that everybody's being more accustomed to that formula. So when they do watch a movie like this, it just doesn't...
I personally don't even think he took a hit at Marvel, though. Where he was like...
I kind of got what he was saying.
Yeah. He said those movies are theme parks. It's like, theme parks are fun. You enjoy theme parks.
There's nothing to think about.
The movies are going. This is a movie that's based on something that might have happened. Or it's based in real life, basically, is what he's saying.
Relationship,
if you look at his
mortality.
movies, they're all sort of real. So for an old-time director like that to see the movies that are having big-ass successes...
And that's what's coming out
and their effects films, he's like, they're theme parks because kids enjoy that.
And the fact his movies on Netflix and on the theaters...
It affects his movies.
I feel like that kind of pissed him off.
Of course.
His last...
That exactly, because he's like, nobody's really looking at
the good stuff.
These movies anymore.
They're
not looking for substance, I guess. For him, that's substance.
Yeah.
Because that's what he loves.
Yeah.
For him, theme park movies like Marvel are not...
Yeah,
he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because he's going to go in there, he's not going to see great cinematography, he's not going to see great dialogue, he's not going to see extraordinary acting.
It's just like...
He's just going to see a really action-packed film, which us as kids, I think for me it's just as entertaining as any of these real-life movies.
It's just being able to differentiate, I can't even say that word, but just, okay, I'm going this is a popcorn flick. That's why when we rate our movies, if we're going to, we saw Hobbs and Shaw, we're like, I know what that movie is. I'm going to watch that movie as it is. I'm not going to go in there expecting a Taxi Driver.
The movie also was very, in my opinion.
It's fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the dialogue delivery at some points, you were like, it was as bad as De Niro's kicking in this movie.
Exactly. But for
sometimes,
a movie
are you seriously saying that right now?
For a movie like that, it's like, I'll let it pass.
I love the Kevin Hart segment, by the way, where he pops out.
Yeah. So it's a movie like that. It's like, I'll let it slide because I'm not expecting this movie to be... if I have fun watching it, fine, But now movies like this, it's something more like, okay,
serious.
Exactly. There's that substance, So I get what Scorsese's saying, because his last two, this one I think Silence, they didn't come out in theaters. They didn't get to come out, you know. So I'm sure that frustrates him.
Of course,
because he loves cinema. That's his thing.
Movies, like the whole delivery of movies now is changing, and I feel like he's not the biggest, even though he's partnered with Netflix, and I'm sure he's thankful for Netflix being like, I'm gonna write a big ass check and make your movie.
That went over
budget. He does not see. Like, I'm sure he loves the value of going to a theater and enjoying the movie like the old ways and the premieres and the big premieres and all those things. It's the best way to enjoy movies, man. And as movie buffs, we all understand that.
Yeah.
So, it's easy to see the frustration of, because even I would have loved to have enjoyed like a traditional theater of this. Would have loved to go see it in an AMC. Mm-hmm. Would have sat, would have bought it probably first night to go see it. We didn't get it until the 15th or 16th or whatever that time frame was. But that's, I guess, the future. The way that if the demand isn't there, people aren't not going to invest in it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
surprisingly, to me, I felt like the demand was kind of there. Like, a lot of people tweeted about it. A lot of people talked about seeing it. A lot of celebrities, a lot of big people. So
yeah, I think this movie could have come out in theaters. It's too high of a budget.
Yeah,
you don't see this movie making that much money if it was in theaters.
Yeah,
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's an original film. I mean, that one made like $400 million, and that's like
$400 million.
400, yeah, and that's like, this movie's a smash hit.
Yeah,
and it costs
for a movie that costs $200 million, you need at least $800 million, and
not include, because you got to double a movie's budget for marketing.
That's what I'm saying.
So you need.
So that's why I said like for $200 million, it would have been $400 million.
800. Yeah,
because you always want to kind of make 100% profit.
Yeah.
Of what you spent, you kind of get back.
And that's a lot, man. For a movie, that's why a movie like Joker to hit $1 billion, over $1 billion. That's
amazing. Well done movie, by the way. And I heard Scorsese was kind of involved in that movie.
Yeah, they wanted him to do it.
Yeah.
And he was thinking about it, and he was like, I guess something
and
he didn't like.
I don't know if you guys got this, but it kind of had the Taxi Driver influence.
Taxi Driver, King of Comedy. Yeah. I was all over it. Yeah. I gotta rewatch Taxi Driver because I want to see like because it's just written there. You see it.
Yeah.
And they wanted Scorsese to do it, but he said he had other things and he wasn't too with the script. He was like, it wasn't his thing.
It was the whole, superhero thing
I think that just turned him off.
Took him off. Yeah.
And he probably didn't want to do like a Taxi Driver movie again. Yeah. So they had him as a producer, and then he wasn't really
just
producer.
Like, I don't want the credits.
Yeah. And then he's doing these movies now.
I mean, that movie looks really good. That's coming out from, I guess it's from his production company, Cut Gems. What's it called?
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Yeah, A24. They do very good, very good stuff. Yeah. So
how's he involved in that? Because he shared it on his Instagram, but he also like
Scorsese.
Yeah. Is he a producer?
I don't think so. He's probably just supporting. Like A24 releases those indie low budget films. Nice. So
I want to see that movie.
Yeah, me too, man. What would you guys rate this movie? Like 1 to 10. What would be your
I
final verdict?
It earlier in the interview, it would probably be 8.5 or 9 out of 10.
Okay, so you're like 8.5, 9 range. 9 out of 10.
Okay. 8.5 only because some people might not enjoy how long it is, and might not, like we talked about, enjoy the substance or the meaning of the words behind it. That's fine. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, it takes a 1 point off completely for that one scene of De Niro, because it kind of messes up the movie for you for a little bit.
Yeah.
And anything that does that deserves to take
those scenes of physicality. You're like, I saw that.
Yeah. I noticed that. Like, that's a mistake. That's clearly not supposed to happen.
Yeah, and it
or not look that way.
It takes away from the character too. It's not even like there's a cameraman in the background. Like, this is like, it affects the story because you got to believe this guy.
And it's more noticeable than that Starbucks cup being in the scene, because I didn't notice.
It's more impactful because it genuinely does take back
100%.
From his character. Like, I can't take your character. Like, I don't think your character's like maybe a badass anymore because it's an old Robert De Niro. He can't really kick, and that can be a mindset that some people think throughout the rest of the movie. So I think there's another scene where he's like hitting a guy in the stomach, or so those scenes when you watch that, it's like, oh, but I remember that scene. That's not you're not that strong.
Yeah, exactly.
So those are the things that. So I can see that. I can see like that being it's a big
easily a point off in my opinion.
That maybe mixed with the effects of the guns, little things that's like
throws people off. At least people who enjoy modern films more so than
You look at the joke. You saw Joker. of course. But how brutal were those scenes?
Whoa.
How brutal were those scenes? That
boom, boom.
You felt that.
Yeah.
You felt that.
No, 100%.
So now that's kind of like what we're looking for now. Older movies, you can
even I don't know. You guys seen The Accountant? Ben Affleck?
I haven't. I think you saw it, right?
Yeah, you've seen it, right? Yeah. The action scenes in that movie is like spot on.
Yeah.
Is like the bullets and everything. Like when I think of like an amazingly well done, like almost like giving you the feel as if it happened, is that movie.
Yeah.
Like would you agree with that to an extent? Like the gunshots and stuff, like.
In a while, but the parts that I do. Like the action was pretty good. Like it felt brutal.
Like exactly. Brutal. The gunshots felt like it would in real life. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody did get shot in the face in real life, that's how it would be.
We're used to that now. Yeah. You know, so when you see stuff like this and the blood doesn't look right,
it can throw you.
Yeah, I think it's just because all the budget, went to the de-aging. What about you? So 8.5, 9, which is understandable because of that. What about you, Josh?
Probably an 8.
8.
Probably, I'm at an 8. The first half I was kind of lost.
Yeah, the pacing. They should have been like those time marks.
Yeah, and the kicking scene took me out. When he punched the guy in the stomach, he wasn't really doing like a full uppercut. It was more like palm to the stomach. He was kind of hitting him with this.
You get that old man movement,
Yeah, because when he was punching, he was hitting him like.
You hate to see that. I didn't even notice that. I might notice it when I see it again.
Yeah, he didn't really uppercut. He kind of hit him with this right here.
And you don't feel the power. Yeah. You feel him going. It's tough.
And he was trying, but he was kind of like hitting like that. Because before they usually do like the full uppercut, but he was hitting here, so that kind of took me out. I kind of laughed a little bit in that scene as well.
That's the problem with the de-aging, man.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Make sure you don't have any physicality in it,
Yeah, because it took me out because I couldn't believe
that's his character.
I couldn't believe that he was actually tough. So I think an 8. But I still love the movie.
Yeah.
But the second, like the last hour, it really wow, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
like
really good
even up until even starting from the point of
Hoffa. I think when Hoffa comes in, the movie really picks up.
It really does.
Yeah,
it really does.
That,
Al Pacino being
good.
Al Pacino.
It's still great.
Al Pacino's savage.
But the problem is that I was kind of lost. I didn't know. Okay, where am I?
What are we doing?
A lot going on.
What is going on here?
And especially, I don't know anything about this story, and you're not helping me right now to get this story right now.
Yeah,
that's true because they don't even really touch up on that story until Hoffa gets into the thing.
Yeah,
where the entry of Hoffa was like, if you didn't know who Hoffa was at that time, he was the second biggest thing, second only to the president.
Yeah,
like they literally say that in the movie. But up until that part, you really don't know where this movie is going or how it ties in.
And there was one part where I started to feel the runtime.
Yeah,
it was like one part I was like, oof, okay, I'm
like how much more?
Which part was it?
It was like when he gets in the plane, or but like right before he gets in the plane when they're having
for Detroit.
Yeah, like.
Oh, okay.
Like really close to the end.
Like I'm trying to.
That's like
that's
before the last hour. Yeah, right before the last hour.
That's the last hour.
Isn't that crazy?
An hour after that?
Oh yeah, I remember we paused after that 20-minute sequence, and there was like 30 more minutes left.
Oh shit!
And you think that's the ending, and you're like, oh shit, we got 30 more minutes.
No, but like the 30 more minutes are like I feel like
about
De Niro's like best acting.
Yeah,
so
one of the best, like so up there, not best acting overall, but like
in a while though.
It was really you really got him to, but not even more so the acting, but like the whole scene setting, everything was just
well done.
You got it. I left the movie feeling sad.
Yeah.
It makes you think about things, and that's what Scorsese likes to do. He wants you to,
instead of the other guy trying to be divisive, he likes actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
you're catching on. I like it. I like it.
I'm trying to remember the part. It was absurd.
When he's talking to Joe Pesci in the car, because that's when we paused the movie for a second.
It was when they come out of the jewelry shop, and then that was the whole planning of that 20 minutes.
Oh, like right before the award ceremony.
Yeah.
But no, the jewelry shop was when they're on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. So I'm trying because there's so many scenes in the movie that I can't really pinpoint.
There's a lot of time, like.
Yeah. There's a lot of time
because you're like.
Because the jewelry scene was like way in the beginning of the movie, I think.
No, I think there was one more. Like, cause that's the thing. The whole chunk of the movie's going on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we're back on the road.
There was a certain.
Yeah, when he talks to the owner of the jewelry shop. And he's slapping his son. Like, what are you doing? You remember? Yeah. That's like almost towards the end.
It was already building towards that
the ending.
Like the last 20 like
the last hour. Yeah.
Okay, so I was like,
you remember that scene, right?
Yeah.
Like when Frank goes on the plane, that's when I was like, oof, okay, like
come on, there's more.
All right, there's more. There's another 40, 50 minutes.
But then
but then I got back into the movie.
Because it was just that one moment that gave you like that like, damn, this is really long.
Yeah. I kind of had to take like a deep breath. All right, here we go. Another like second
hour.
Wind.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
But that last hour goes by like that.
Because
it really draws you in. I feel.
Because at first I didn't really feel the 3.5 hours. I was in the movie. I was like engaged.
No, I get you completely.
But is that when he goes in the plane? That's when I took like, all right, here we go.
I think it was like around that time when I looked at my cousin. I'm like, damn, there's still more. Yeah. Or no, I think it was right after when the whole thing happens. That one moment that's like basically the build up of the whole movie, and then right after I looked at my cousin, I was like, yo, there's still more. When it starts following De Niro more so and going into like where one would think like the credits come and they're like, this is what happened to this person, this is what happened to this person. It was like, oh shit, they're actually showing that.
Yeah, and that's what it wanted, It wants you to show like how that person
I'm glad they did.
Alone the person feels and regretful, and
I think that was the whole mortality aspect of it.
That was essential for the movie. Yeah. If the movie had ended any earlier than that, it would
not be a great movie.
Yeah,
it would not be great. I think that moment, because it makes you leave feeling a certain way.
Yeah, it sells the rest of the concept to you. It's like this is why.
The way the movie ends, you kind of like because you go on this long journey with this whole story and characters. You see everything he's done to that point, and you get why he's like that at the end because he's done a lot of bad shit in his life, and you get that ending, and you kind of like
it's kind of like regretful.
Yeah, like how he kind of like regrets what he kind of did, and how it affected his family.
The phone call. I think I could.
Yeah.
I mean, man, you can't spoil this.
You really can't spoil this movie. This movie is
like it has so much. I mean, I can't even remember like the point where I thought it was long.
Yeah.
So much footage and this like so much scenes.
Yeah.
Honestly,
we're good. Yeah, we can just talk about it.
Like
Yeah.
Like that scene where he's talking to the wife.
Yeah, the phone call. The phone call, and I love how he mentions it, but without just being so straight on. He's like, and then I think he said I can't believe as a man I made that call.
Yeah.
He doesn't say specifically, but you know what he's talking about.
And it's so far ahead from that moment. Like it's way fast forward after that point because he's still with his family when he's making the phone call. He's ran upstairs,
That's
and then when he's there, he's with the priest. It's like the wind down.
Yeah,
and it's him reminiscing on, like the whole movie's about pretty much his process of becoming friends with this person. The betrayal aspect of it, and then him living with that regret.
How crazy was that?
Insane.
I mean, just
boom. And that scene where Pesci's talking to him, to De Niro, he's like, "Look, I had to talk to a lot of people to make sure you didn't get because they were thinking about killing De Niro and Hoffa,
which is the most practical thing to do,
because they were friends.
Yeah.
And so what happened was he's like, "Look, I talked him out of it, but you have to go do it. If you do it, you live." Pretty much was what he said at that table.
Because if you let them do it, you're either not going to let it happen.
If they do it, it's going to happen to you. Like, you're going to get killed. Because the only way they would test his loyalty was with them, was to see if, because bulk of the movie is pretty much hanging out with Hoffa, so they're trying to test to see who gets, like, where his loyalty really lies.
Yeah.
Because if you notice that scene, I think it's the award ceremony, where he gets a ring and the watch.
Yeah.
He gets the watch from Hoffa. He gets the ring from Russell Bufalino. Or Buffalino, however you say his last name. And that was like the conflict was about to start to happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's one guy that's his best friend. There's another guy who's been like his mentor his whole life.
Yeah. Who brought him in.
All of a sudden, his struggle of trying to tell Hoffa to like, yo, like, calm down. Like, they're really about to do something.
Yeah.
Hoffa not listening. And then him being called upon to take action or else his life will also be on the line. It's crazy. It's wild.
It's so good.
It's wild.
It's so good because it's true, like what you were saying, the watch and the ring and everything.
It's those little things that, I noticed after when I started watching some reviews.
Yeah.
Like other people talk analyses.
Yeah, it's a movie you gotta, it's
something you gotta watch again. And maybe again and again if you really enjoy it. It's one of those things. But yeah, that was a big part of something that you don't really notice until if you really go back and look at it. Like if me telling you this will be something like you're gonna go back and be like, wow, this moment means so much more now.
What did you think of the scene, like the final shot of the movie when he's like leave the door open?
Oh, it's crazy.
It was like
that's insane.
What did you take out of that?
That was very, very in that specific scene, what did that scene mean?
Yeah,
it was like the end of his. It was like the closing, but he doesn't like. He still kind of wants to like reminisce on the life that he's had, but he can tell that the door is almost shut on his life.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking about it, man, that.
But that scene also ties into that scene where Hoffa is in the bedroom. He's like, "Yo, just leave it open, or that door stays open."
I looked into it.
It's like him reminiscing on that.
Yeah, I looked into it. They're saying it's like something like that, like reminiscing on the Hoffa thing, and also something because Hoffa did it because like I guess to show trust.
Yeah.
The one thing they're saying is like to show trust to Frank because it's like
because they're staying together.
Yeah. Because somebody said something like, "Oh, is it him trying to entice him or something to go into the room?" You know how the trick. The other one was like they don't like closing the door because it makes them feel trapped by their enemies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different takes on it. I thought it was really interesting, but that makes the most sense. They were saying how it's Frank kind of just like he just want to close the door shut on himself. And it's amazing how there's so many different interpretations.
It's
just such a simple shot, but it means so much.
That's the beauty of Scorsese, is you can really find different.
That's good filmmaking right there.
His cinematography is second to none. I would feel like the way the whole movie goes through, and you see different scenes and the way it's captured.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I love. It's such a simple thing, and it means so much.
And he does it in a classical way. Like the reasons why I love. What was the movie? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. This movie. These movies that are kind of callbacks to the past, they're vintage films, and if it done right, it's beautiful. And I think this is one of those films.
Yeah, man. So I'm at an 8.
8.5.
9. So, anything else that we wanted to mention about this movie? That sequence.
Joe Pesci is great.
I love how different Joe Pesci is.
Yeah, he's different. Cause I thought he was gonna be like Joe Pesci.
But
he was actually like quiet, but serious, like.
Intimidating.
He was calm and like.
Yeah, it's amazing how, like, he doesn't really say much, but you see what he means just by his looks. You know what I mean?
He's intimidating.
Because you can go to him like for anything, but don't fuck with him at the same time.
Love it.
Like he's. That's what I love about kind of with mob films and these movies in general is they have a lot of like connections to. Obviously not the killing part, but like connections to like good things in life, like loyalty and family and trust and bond and like that always have your back type thing that in today's culture not a lot of people can generally say that about a lot of people, you know, like who can you really say like it really has just mostly your family. Not a lot of people outside of your family that you can be like, you know, that person will have my back no matter what. So I feel like those tie-ins into reality that the mob life kind of has, or at least mob films have, because I don't really know what the mob was like or the mafia was like, but I know what an interpretation through film was like.
And the conflict in that too, right? Because like in this movie he's loyal to both, but it's like now you have to choose.
Well, this is why this was also a very different film, because in other gangster movies you really don't have to make that decision in those mob films, you know.
Most other ones it's like more about the rise and fall, the flashiness, how they want
like in terms of The Godfather, a lot of it had to do with just business. Like you could take a lot of business. Like to me, in terms of like if a person is an entrepreneur, they should watch that movie just off of certain insights of not specific skill sets that they're giving you a business.
Right.
But if you watch it and you carry yourself in a certain way, it tells you like the manner of one should conduct business. So, like that movie, and then you have like Goodfellas, but like none of these movies really go into like the mortality of being a gangster.
Right.
Goodfellas kind of. You have that scene of like him like basically narrating from a perspective of already being in jail. But it's nothing like, you know, the end of life. And then this one sort of connects into real life, like who's really with you when it's all said and done.
That scene when they're like, but there's no one else, like why can't you just tell us? And because we find out when they say, it's like, oh shit, so look how old he is. There's no one left in this story, you know?
He literally told this guy, Charles Brandt, who wrote the book, and died a month later.
Wow.
Yeah. He said, like, this is what I did. This is what the truth about Hoffa is, and died a month later. He had refused to give so many interviews about that specific thing. And then this guy, Charles Brandt, was he's not a book writer, like from what I heard, but yesterday I was watching a video. He's actually like one of those investigative reporters that ended up writing a book. So he was investigating this or whatever, and then looked into him, and then approached him. He kept denying it. He said, look, all these people are dead. I'm not going to the cops. Nothing can really happen to you. Just tell me what really happened. And then this guy, the movie is basically what is his version of what happened. Now you can accept that as the truth. And Robert De Niro was like, I think it's true because all of this detail could not be presented if it wasn't true.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, you never know. At the end of the day, he could just be lying. Could just be a story. But
just
why?
Wanted a book.
For what, you know? Yeah. He wanted a book about his life. Something to live on past him.
Yeah, like, he wanted a movie.
He wanted a movie.
Oh, man.
No, yeah, but that's...
Yeah, man. Irishman, guys. I mean, this movie's been waiting, like, people have been waiting for this movie for years.
We've been discussing, we wanted to talk about this for a while.
For months, I think. Yeah. For months. So I'm glad we got to do it, man. I'm glad.
Be happy to hop on back whenever you want me, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I love
for
talking
sure,
film.
Man. We hit 3 hours.
We literally hit Irishman numbers, so.
Yeah, out of respect.
Out of respect for Martin Scorsese, you know, and the movie.
But yeah, man, I think that's it. Anything else?
No.
I think we did a lot today.
I think this is enough for the viewers.
Yeah, don't stop. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having
me. Anything that you want to shout out or anything? And
nothing really. Follow me at VCool. That's pretty much it. VKUL. That's about it.
All right, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching, if you're listening, thank you so much. As always, hope you enjoyed it. Hope it wasn't too long. I think our longest was actually, 3.5 hours? I think so.
Damn.
3.5 hours or something like that. That's the
longest.
I'm
sad I couldn't do record numbers today, guys.
Whenever you want to come back on,
we'll come and beat that record.
Because this, 4 hours. I feel like we actually could have gone longer. We got into the Irishman, and that's usually like the final point. Yeah. It's like, okay, but if we had kept like rambling about the stuff we were rambling about,
it's almost 12 o'clock. So like we really we went in.
Yeah.
We could easily do more, but like I think time permitting, we should.
We'll set another one. We'll set another one up.
For sure.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely gonna split this for YouTube, so for the review. Yeah. So thank you guys so much. Goodbye.